part of the show,
Whine like a mule.
You whine like a
then
mule.
everyone can see.
On this episode, you whine like a mule. On this episode,
I don't go right that. Oh my word. Who is Roy X Franco? Who is it? It's you, isn't it?
Are they back?
Everyone. No, they're not.
Oh, because Ashley's making pie. No.
That's one of you. I know it's someone. She says it's not her.
Well, everybody says it's not them.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they would want me to think, isn't it?
I was like, why are you listening to anybody? Because everyone's going to say no. Oh, yeah.
Maybe if I intimidate enough, someone will break. Hey, David. Hey, Star Fox.
It was me.
It still says Star Trop. Oh, on that thing? Really? Okay, let me see if I can fix that right now. That's ridiculous. I don't know why it says that. And we're just waiting for our guest to join, so I will see if I can fix that right now. I could have sworn I fixed that.
It said Star Tropic, or no, it said whatever this morning. It looked right. Secret of Mana is what it says on mine. Now it says Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Hold on. Let me
Are you
fix
talking
some of
about?
this. I think he's talking about the graphic that shows behind everything.
Oh.
I did forget to change this to talk shows, so I do need to change that. So because it does say Secret of Mana, so let me fix that part. Talk shows,
I have
podcast.
no idea what you're talking about.
That's fine.
I just see the Robin Hood stuff.
Movie
But I'm glad you
review. Okay, done. There's JS. Hey, JS.
Hey.
Hello,
Welcome
hello,
aboard.
welcome. Let's see. Paladin, did you beat Secret of Mana? No, I didn't beat Secret of Mana, not yet. JS, will you please? By the way, this is Paul, my
Hi.
cohort here.
Hey.
Paul, this is JS. He's one of the creators of Supersonic Pod Comics, and
Nice.
he's done lots of graphic novel stories and lots of awesome stuff. So
Cool.
there's some brief introductions before we get into the show. But JS, will you pull up that little legal disclaimer thing so we can have you read that, and we'll record that.
Yeah. I will. Go on here. You ready?
That's so weird. Yeah, hold on. I'm just replying to David. I'm looking at my video player banner and it says it's showing the right one. So I'm not sure where you're seeing Star Tropic. Oh wait, is this in the schedule? I was ready. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
So I couldn't find it, so good
No,
job.
I see it. I see it. Thank you for being for me saying, get it ready, JS, and now I'm like, wait, JS.
Yeah.
Okay, now it says it. Hopefully you're happy now, David. Okay. Anytime you're ready, JS.
Hey, JS Earls, give permission to friends in the Retro Rewind podcast to use my vocal commentary recorded within podcast and any past recordings of the Retro Rewind podcast media and
Go ahead and pause, JS.
perpetuity. Yep.
It sounds like you're breaking up a lot. Is he breaking up for you, Paul?
Yeah.
Or okay. So let's see. It looks like your connection on here is fine. So I'm not sure what it would be.
Record later.
Record
On audio
later. Oh,
only?
by the way, I should actually start the recording on my DAR. That's probably a good thing, Francisco. Let's see.
Can he
Oh,
record it on his own?
What browser are you using, JS?
Aha.
I think it automatic something.
I'm not hearing you right now, JS. If you're
The
talking,
auto middle thing? I'm here that.
I'm not hearing you either, Paul.
Oh, that's you, Francisco. Francisco.
Wait, did you mute
I
yourself,
hear-
Paul?
No,
You can't hear. Oh, you can't hear me.
Right. No, I can hear you. I hear
You
everybody.
can hear me.
I hear everybody. Do you hear me, JS?
Why can't I hear you though, Paul? I'm very
Okay, we
confused
can
as to why I
hear.
can't-
Everybody can hear but you.
If you can, okay, yeah, type Paul, because I'm sort of lost as to why I can't hear you. Everyone can hear you. Everyone can hear, but okay, is that it? Oh, good. Well, that's fantastic. Let me see if we can fix that. Why can't I hear anyone else? So I hit record on this, and now I can't hear people, and I don't get why that is. Very strange. Okay, that's going there, that's going there, that's going there, that's going there. Can I hear this? Oh, I can't even hear that. Okay, hold on. I can't hear anything coming through my computer. So that's on me. Hold on, guys.
Sorry, JS. We're very
Why can't
professional
I
usually.
hear
That's okay. Should I use?
Well, if you can hear JS, please
Chrome?
keep JS
If you
company,
can use Chrome,
Paul, while I
people
try to
have
figure
more
out my
success with that
issue.
If you want to close out and go back in Chrome.
Yeah.
Let's go in there.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, he's exiting and trying Chrome this time.
Oh, okay. Was he on something else?
Yeah.
Okay. All I did was fiddle with a little like input, and that seemed to do it.
Yeah. I've had that trouble lately. I know. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, I'm glad you could hear me.
Yes, I'm
but he
glad
was
you
breaking
could
up
too.
for you too, also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was suggesting that he recorded on his own using his own audio software, but
Okay. You have a
That's up to
screenshot
you.
of what, David? I wonder if Roy X Franco will show up. Yeah, I'm wondering that too, D Tungsten. Oh my gosh. Paladin says, I keep telling
thought you
Fixers.
want D-Tungsten to show. I mean, Roy to show up, because it's a nut. Are you creating like these 10 different accounts so you always have 10 plus viewers? That's what I think.
No, I'm not creating any accounts, Paul.
Well, you know it's not me, because I thought your name was Franco X Roy's, not Roy X Franco.
Okay.
Is that what the R
and-
stands for, Roy?
No. Wait,
Boo to all the people who said it was me. I was asleep through. That sounds like something Roy would say.
Oh my gosh. Plus, it's not worth paying anyone. Yeah. Oh, to be in your stead.
Yeah.
Paladin says, and with Jess, it sounds like it comes through, but it comes in pieces. Yeah, that's how it was sounding to me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had issues where if sometimes using, like, I use Brave and don't usually have a problem, but other people have had issues using things like Ashley had a problem using Brave once and switched to Chrome and it fixed it. Paul, I assume you use Chrome or you
Yeah.
use something else. Yeah.
No, I use Chrome.
Roy is good because then we know you're not him.
But you are Roy.
I'm not
That's
Roy.
why Roy isn't here. 'Cause you're Roy.
Francisco.
That's who you're now. Okay. Oh, and let me guess. You're not the Nintendo Ninja either.
Don't bring that into this. I married a man named. Thank you, Ashley.
I thought
Yes, exactly.
You married Franco. Wasn't that part of the vows, or was the audio breaking up then?
I guess the audio was breaking up. You were there in the room, Paul.
I know. That'd be amazing if Kennethan was right there on the mute to just right there.
To make it sound like Franco.
Yeah.
Roy hired Jared.
Oh.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, let's see if this is any better from JS. Okay,
Yeah.
JS.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Better?
Yeah. So
That's-
far, yes.
Oh, I love the confidence.
Oh yeah, well, because you never know. Because that'll happen. People be like, "Oh, okay, are things better?" And yes, for a moment they're better, and then it goes off the rails again. So, if you
Yeah.
could try doing, and it sounded like you have to be done at a certain time. Is that accurate? So,
I just can't run super late because I'm diabetic.
Oh.
So I
Gotcha,
have to. Yeah.
okay, no worries. We will try to go fast. Go ahead and do the legal statement again when you have a chance.
Oh my goodness gracious.
I know, right? I'm just a slave driver. I'm a salt miner. What would I be? A manager. Get to work.
Where's
Yeah.
my oath? I lost all my. Sorry, go for it whenever you're ready.
That's good. Okay. I, J.S. Earls, give permission to Francisco Ruiz and the Retro Rewind podcast to use my video, voice, and vocal commentary recorded within the Retro Rewind podcast and any past, present, future recordings of the Retro Rewind podcast and any and all media, including fashion, action figures, and in perpetuity without restrictions and with no expectation to receive compensation now or in the future as it relates to any past, present, and future recordings of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Okay,
Thank-
Power Rangers, let's do it!
This isn't Power Rangers, Paul. Thank you, JS. I am hearing some like every so often there'll be a little electrical pop. I don't know if that will carry over. In the last recording, I think Paul was saying he told me that he is saying if you can record on your end, like locally, that might be a good fail safe. But if that's not something you can do, don't worry about it.
Well, I can try.
Okay.
It's not worth destroying everything.
Yeah. If you're,
Just the thing that I used before, I have not used in a while, so I'm just having. There we go. We'll see if it'll let me.
I don't know why you guys are in chat are having this side conversation about Roy Franco and all this. The topic is Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Let's
I
keep it on
didn't say either of those names. If you look at what I'm talking about, I put little asterisks. I didn't even type them out.
Thank you. See, Ashley is a good woman. I will tell you that right now, in case you guys weren't sure.
Like curse words in your mind.
Right? Oh my gosh, Paul. JS, just to illuminate you, there's this whole like side streaming thing where I've been called Roy, but I'm not Roy, and people say they're part of Team Womp, but that's not the right team to be a part of. They call me Franco, and now there's this whole other user that's named themselves Roy X Franco to get on my nerves. So
welcome to the madhouse, JS.
This side conversation is, yeah.
Hey, hello, who's
Or
the
Bob.
yeah, that's me.
Oh, that's you
playing
playing games with strangers, right? Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who's Paladin Pirate?
That is David Gardner, if you know who that is.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry to
Paladin
dox
Pirate.
you there, Paladin.
Yeah. Where
you're
is
all
he
mad
right
heroes.
now? Wait, no.
He is in the United States, I think, maybe.
Roughly.
He's on the
roughly.
internet. There's the oath. Oh.
Wow, Paul. Wow. Jess, do you have 2 likes and a classic maker your favorite thing? And I know you typed all this. I'm just going through my checklist. And 2 dislikes and a tragic maker your least favorite thing?
2 likes.
Basically your top 3.
Yeah, your top 3.
Yeah,
3
I mean,
dislikes.
trying to read through and make sure I have 3.
Oh, okay. No worries. Just the main thing is make sure you keep your favorite thing for the last and your least favorite thing for the last.
Build up on it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Let's see. Got that. Do you have a spiritual speculation question or topic to discuss for the bonus section?
I mean, the thing that I said was kind of like religious prejudice.
Okay. Then we'll talk about that. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Let's see. Did that. Okay, and you're sounding fine. And you told me to guess her. Okay, we don't want to go too much.
Dar is
too long.
good.
Dar is going. Yep, it's going to be a little delayed.
No,
I
that's
didn't
not
hit
true.
them right at the same time, but I can find this.
Good luck.
Let's
Oh,
see.
man, I don't have good luck.
Should you have good luck?
Well, I have,
Do a barrel roll.
but I don't have good luck.
Good luck. Okay. So here's what I'd like, guys, for like 5 seconds, just no talking. Don't mute yourselves or anything. It's just to get your bass level, noise level, so I can cancel it out later. So
Right.
leave your mics on and hot, but we're going to do 5 seconds of silence starting now.
If everything you're doing is bad, I want you to know this.
It's not so helpful.
Oh, you mean now? All right.
Did you mean on now or now and?
Because now is already passed. It's been 5 seconds, right?
I'm through toying with you, He-Man.
When I say now, be quiet. No sound clips, no nothing, but don't turn your mics off or don't mute. And
Okay.
now. Thank you. Okay.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Okay. I think we are ready to go then. Thumbs up if you're ready to start the show.
Oh, hold on. And
All
you,
right.
you traveled 10,000 miles to save my life and leave me to be butchered? Okay.
That's good. Oh, Paul, will you actually say a quick prayer over us before we do start?
All right. Lord God, thank you so much for today. I pray that you would somehow be glorified through this hopefully fun review of this movie. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. And chat, I will try to remember this. If I
That
don't,
you're
my
there.
apologies. No, but what I was thinking is we have this memory section, and what people are watching live, but they're not on Facebook or anywhere
Oh,
else.
yeah.
What if they want to give us their memories? So if you have memories when we get to trivia, and you have memories of the podcast, like Cap
Memories of the podcast?
memories of this movie.
It'll be a
Excuse me.
fun one.
Then do like Capital's memory, put it in chat, and I'll do my best to gather those when we get to that section. If you start doing it now, I'm not going to see it. So wait till at least we get to trivia. Yeah, my best, Paul. My best. Okay.
Hey, Kevin Joshua Berman.
Chat. Hey, Kevin. Okay, here we go
Hey,
then.
everyone in chat.
Are you ready, JS?
Sure.
Paul, you ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. What, Paul?
No, I was about to begin.
Oh, okay. And we'll start in 5, 4, 3.
Wait for it.
And you travel 10,000 miles to save my life and leave me to be butchered?
I fulfill my vows when I choose to.
Which does not include prayer time, meal time, or any time I'm outnumbered 6-1?
You whine like a mule. You are still alive, enough to listen to this episode of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Reflux capacitors, fluxing, crew to stations. Scanning for Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, 1991. Prepare to rewind in 3, 2, 1.
Very familiar about all this.
Welcome, rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 or more years ago. I'm your captain of the pod, Francisco Ruiz, and I'm joined by your XO and mine, Paul, the master soundboarder, Powers.
Don't worry, Kevin Costner. I can't speak with an English accent either.
Also, for this discussion of the film Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, we welcome aboard for the first time an audio and visual creator of books, graphic novels, and podcasts, J.S. Earls. Hey, J.S.
Hello.
Hello.
And Kevin wanted to do an English accent, but they wouldn't let him.
Yeah,
Hello,
what's
Guff.
up with that? Oh my gosh. And now, well, what about Christian Slayer, though? He didn't have an English. Anyway, we'll get to it
Yeah,
later.
I know.
Now that
I
you
know.
have a quick flyby of who we are, Paul, can you give us a quick overview of the production specs for Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves?
What? All right. Sure. Robin and Marion was released March 11th, 1976, rated PG, runs an hour and 46 minutes, directed by Richard Lester, written by James Goldman, lead stars being Sean Connery, Audrey Hepburn, and Robert Shaw. The music was composed by John Barry.
Paul,
Yes.
I think you watched the wrong Robin Hood version again.
What?
Yeah.
You told me to watch the Robin Hood with Sean Connery in it. Doesn't it?
Yeah, and also Kevin Costner, Mary
What?
Elizabeth Master Antonio. That one.
That could have been brought to my attention yesterday.
All right, fine. I'll go back and watch the Kevin
Good.
Costner
Do it
one.
now.
All right. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves was released June 14th, 1991, and runs almost 2.5 hours long.
Oh my gosh. How was it that horrible for you, Paul? Are we getting these angsty feelings out now? Continue, please.
All right. It was rated PG-13. It was directed by Kevin Reynolds and written by Penn Densham, sorry, Penn, and John Watson, with lead stars being Kevin Costner, Morgan Freeman, and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantino.
Master Antonio.
Master Antonio Banderas, and Alan Rickman. And the music was composed by Michael Kamen. Are you ready
All right.
for the box office trivia?
I'm ready. Jess, are you ready?
Probably not. I'm still.
Okay.
I think I watched the Disney Robin Hood too. So
Yeah.
What? Dang it.
You have to go
Oh my
back and
gosh.
rewatch the right one.
I actually have to recuse myself from this because in the trivia I saw where this placed. So, JS, it's up to you and everyone in chat. I see like Apple Dance just got here. Ashley's here. Everyone, all you awesome rewinders are here in chat. Feel free to join in guessing where this placed in the top however many movies Paul says. So go for it, Paul.
All right, this is 1991. Robin Hood, the Prince of Thieves, was made for about $48 million and earned around $390 million at the box office. Given this fact, how high in the box office do you think it ranks among the movies released theatrically in 1991? We'll go for the top 50.
Hold on. Did you hear my little sound bit?
No.
That's okay. Hold on. Let me.
But I did hear the intro. Yeah.
You heard that one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Fix it in post.
Okay.
Edna mode.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
So how high do you think it ranks? Oh, top 50.
Do the whole thing.
Top
Do that whole
50.
part
All
again,
right.
please.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves was made. Sorry, let me. All right, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves was made for about $48 million and earned around $390 million at the box office.
Whoa.
Given this fact, how high in the box office do you think it ranks among the movies released theatrically in 1991? We'll go for the top 50.
Top 50. Jess, where do you think it ranks?
I think I'm sitting there trying to think of the different movies and things that came out that time. I'm gonna say like 12.
12. Okay.
Because
Decent.
I will tell you that because the Bryan Adams song was used heavily to promote this, it got a lot of extra attention.
Absolutely. Yes. Power ballads at their finest.
That thing was everywhere. I wasn't a big MTV or VH1 watcher, but that thing played ad nauseum. I remember seeing that over and over.
I feel like I even saw it on the Disney Channel too.
I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Then in chat, Kennethan guesses 42. Star Fox guessed 30. Apple Dance guesses 37. D-Tongues guessed 17. Ashley says 7. Let's see. Anyone else? Oh, then Apple Dance changed to 19. Make up your mind, Apple Dance. All right. And then let's see, Paul, where did it actually end up?
Well, according to the-numbers.com, Robin Hood Prince of Thieves came in at number 3.
What?
Yeah,
I read number 2, but okay.
Well, according to the-numbers.com, Terminator
number
2
3.
is 1 and Beauty and the Beast came at number 2.
Terminator 2 is number 1? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
okay.
know. It's confusing. Terminator 2, number 1.
Oh, yeah, I'm so confused. All right, well, good on you. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, my goodness. So I guess, who was closest then to
I think
that?
Ashley did.
Oh, did she? What did she say? 7?
7.
Yeah, I guess so.
She was
Yes,
the
good
only one in
job.
the top 10. Good job,
Yeah.
Ashley.
Good job. And thank you for those factoids, Paul. And let's see if any of them factor into our memory mind melt or subsequent roundtable discussion, which we'll get into once Alice has located our target film.
Alert. Target located. Spoilers incoming. Establishing analysis vector.
It was a time of tyrants. A time when the only way to uphold justice was to break the law. A time that made a hero into a legend. Kevin Costner is Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, June 14th.
June what?
Yes. You may remember Kevin Costner is Robin Hood, and it was scored with Willow's soundtrack. Wait a second. No, that was just the trailer. But maybe some memories got fuzzy, or they're still clear. But let's find out what we remembered about Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves in our memory mind meld synopsis. Robin Hood is helped out of a Turkish prison by God, played by Lucius Fox. They then cross over Waterworld to England after dancing with wolves. Wyatt Earp loses his field of dreams to Sheriff Hans Gruber. The joke. So the untouchable leader gathers rebels to fight the wielder of Grepthar's hammer. It's Friar Tuck's line as he's feisty and funny. Meanwhile, Sheriff Rickman kills his cousin to show how ruthless he can be. The bodyguard rescues Maid Marian from Professor Snape and gets knighted by James Bond. Wow, that was all sorts of deceptive. I mean, you got some story beats in there, but those characters are way off. But based on those memories, as flawed as they were, what reign did they lead you to predict for this film before rewatching it? Classic, nostalgic, or tragic? Let's start with JS. What was your prediction for Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves?
I wanted to say classic, but I said nostalgic.
Nostalgic for prediction. All right. Paul, how about you?
I remember enjoying this in the theater, so I predicted classic.
Classic. And I remember every time I've seen this previously, I've always really enjoyed it. So I also predicted classic. And it'll be interesting to see if those predictions come true. But first, let's get into our discussion of the things we liked most about Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Let's spin up our
Best bets.
And we're going to start with JS. What's one thing you liked about this film?
So are we not doing the beginning yet, or can this be the beginning?
What's the
This
beginning?
is the beginning.
Or just this is anything?
This is the top of what you like. Your
Of-
top,
of
the top three.
any
This is your number
aspect.
3 choice.
Yeah, it could be any. Yeah, you're exactly. Your bottom of your top 3 things you liked about this film.
Well,
If that's the beginning.
There's too many things to
Jeez.
like.
Yeah,
Or there's nothing to like.
I'm trying to think. I would say if it's the bottom. Oh, I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this, but I will say Marian being Robin's equal.
All right.
Okay, you like that she was his equal.
Yeah, and I don't like not in the way that they do it nowadays. Whereas she pretty much has to one up Robin Hood if it was done nowadays. But like at least like before that, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize about this is like before this, I mean, this really broke a lot of the tropes that then other people did like moving forward. So even though they didn't do it as well as they should have necessarily, this was like the bridge in a way.
She held her own, unlike previous Maid Marian's portrayed, was just like a damsel in distress waiting to be rescued. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I appreciate that even like when they're having that moment in the party when they're in the I don't know what they call it. They're in Sherwood Forest, their encampment, whatever, and they're up in the tree talking about different things. And I like their back and forth dialogue, just getting to know each other more. It certainly kindles their romance, but it's like she's asking him very good questions. He's answering the best he can, and I think they're certainly intellectually equals and equals in a lot of ways for sure. Okay, that's great, Jess. Paul, was Maid Marian something you really enjoyed about this film, or another character?
I think Mary Elizabeth Antonio Banderas did a good job.
Master Antonio.
Oh,
God,
Master Antonio Banderas. Sorry.
Oh my God.
I think she did fine for the role. Oh, interestingly though, did you know who was originally cast for that role?
I bet you I do. It was, I think, if I can
cheater,
Imogen Bain, who played Sarah. They were flip-flopped. She was going to be the right.
No.
Oh, Paul, I don't know.
It was actually Robin Wright, the Princess Bride herself.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
But
Carrie Elwes was going to be cast as Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Men in Tights, yeah.
That
But
been...
Aaron got pregnant and had to back out. So
you mean Robin got pregnant?
Sorry, yes. Now you got me all confused. Yeah, Robin Wright got pregnant, had to back out, and then they got married to replace her. So
gotcha.
Just a little fun bit for you. Something that I liked was the story. The age-old story of Robin Hood, but just brought together and retold in a fun, fresh way for that time. I thought they did a good job. And one of the producers actually said he had the idea for a few years. He wanted to do Robin Hood, in his words, Robin Hood a la Raiders of the Lost Ark. So
I can see that.
A fresh adventure take on it rather than Men in Tights, not the comedy, but actually as it was portrayed before, like the Errol Flynn days where they were in tights and stuff, but to bring more realism to the story. And I thought
And
they
I
did
feel-
a good job with that story.
Absolutely. And I think they really captured a lot of that adventurous feel with the score by Michael Kamen. It's so hummable. It's so great. Of course, now as I'm singing, as I'm thinking of it, all I can think of is Willow. So, which is really frustrating because I was humming this just earlier today.
Well, they use it in all sorts of like award ceremonies.
There we go.
And Morgan
Dun,
Creek
dun,
used
dun.
it for their theme and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
well,
exactly.
They made this. They produced this movie, so they're like, "Hey, this is mine now."
Right. Yeah, they probably signed a waiver at the beginning.
Oh, yeah, exactly. In perpetuity.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Exactly. Is Morgan Creek a Disney company like
No.
Buena Vista or
I forget the name.
Touchstone?
I always thought it was like Morgan Freeman's company.
Yeah.
'cause it was Morgan, but that's just a coincidence. I forget the name
okay.
of the man behind it.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, cool. Okay. So we got Maid Marian, we got this story, we got the music. Let's go back to you, JS. What's something else you enjoyed about this film?
I did. Yeah, I did like the I liked their Friar Tuck version.
Yes.
Because he's been kind of somewhat in different things. He's been like either kind of serious or he's been very funny, and this one was kind of like a mix of both, which I thought was good. It kind of gave him, and especially even at the end when he confronts the guy that's in the
bishop or something.
the
Yeah, I
bishop
forget
or
exactly.
whatever.
Yeah,
And, yeah. I mean, it gave him, so he's not just a joke character. I mean, he actually has some
Gave some serious tones.
Yeah. I thought he's a good. I don't even know his name, but I
Michael
like the
McShane.
Michael
actor for
McShane.
him.
Michael
Yeah.
McShane.
Yeah, he did great.
Interesting.
know what-
Go ahead. I have
was
a
gonna
fun
say-
tip about it, or a fun fact about him. But so go
I have a
ahead.
fun fact that's not related to this movie about him, but do you know what anime he's in that we've covered on this podcast, Paul?
Oh my gosh, he's in a lot of things. No, wait. Tarzan.
Anime.
What?
Anime, not animated
Anime.
movie, an anime.
Because since I said Tarzan, the guy who plays Kevin Costner's dad, Brian Blessed, he plays Clayton, the main villain of Tarzan. He does
Oh,
the voice of
really?
him.
Oh,
So
crazy.
I thought
Okay.
maybe that was a connection that they had
No.
going. Anime, I don't know. Canada, Akira, Akara.
No. Do you happen to know, JS? No worries if you don't, because this is like a really.
If it's an anime,
cut.
I usually don't watch the dub. I watch the Japanese version, so I don't.
All right, good for you,
Yeah.
Paul.
So I don't
Okay,
know.
it is. He played Dee's hand in Vampire and D Bloodlust.
Oh, yeah.
He is the voice for him.
All right. So fun fact about Michael McShane.
Yes.
Anyway, he lives in the U.S. mostly, but he tried out for the casting, tried out for the part in L.A. and they passed on it. But he's also well known in the U.K. for being Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Oh, really?
So he
Okay.
went over to the U.K., did some Whose Line, and then he tried again for their casting out there, and he got the role out there.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh, that's craziness.
So if at first you don't succeed.
Go to another country and try again. Wow. Okay. So yeah, I really appreciate his character as well.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Yeah, another character or an actor that I thought did a great job was Morgan Freeman. I just loved his no nonsense humor. Like he played the straight man really well. He's also like had a lot more going. Like I felt like he brought so much history to his character that you never find out about, but there's just so much backstory that I could just imagine he's having go on in his head he's bringing to it, and you really get that sense for that. And I shouldn't be surprised with Morgan Freeman playing.
Well, but at
Azim,
the same, but at the same time too, that's where like people don't know, but like before that, he had never really had roles like that.
Oh,
like
really? Okay.
Yeah,
you
like
sort of assumed that looking back, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, he hadn't really done like ethnic roles and like other things like
well, he
that.
did Driving Miss Daisy right before it. That's pretty ethnic.
Right. Yeah. That's
No.
that's pretty much that for that. Yeah, but not like foreign. like in like another country or something like that, but where he's like where it's really ingrained in his character and
I
his
see what
religious
you mean.
beliefs
Yes.
and all that stuff, like culturally.
Right.
I mean, obviously it's still cultural in
But
Driving
he-
Miss Daisy.
Previously,
but
like on Electric Company, he was an American.
right.
Like,
He was and that's the thing. I mean, he had a lot of really good roles, but they had all been very American. And
Right.
this was like one of the roles that really for him wasn't like big because he wasn't like the main star or anything, but he just brings such gravitas with to every role that he does. And this was like, again, one of those things where it's kind of like a bridge to what how much he would branch out and everything in the future.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point. I never really thought about that, but
I stumbled across that when I was reading through things too.
Okay.
That it was like, when it said that this was the first time a lot of audiences had really seen him like playing a character in another country with the different, very non-American.
right.
Yeah. And I think he did a fantastic job. He was totally believable as the character Azim. Paul, was there another character you really gravitated to, or some other element of this film you liked?
For my next I just put the cast. I thought it was well-rounded all around. So just to echo what you guys said, and here's a fun little fact about Sean Connery. His appearance in this, the studio at the time, which was Warner Brothers, they had somebody else in mind. I don't know who, but the producer,
Daniel Craig,
before
Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah. The producer really wanted Sean Connery, but the studio said no.
Are you talking about I think they want him for his dad, right? The role of his dad?
No, to play the king.
Oh,
King
they
Richard
did.
At the end.
Yeah. They did actually. There is something about that where they were actually considering him for the dad at one point.
Instead of Brian
like,
Bless.
They were like, that's going to be... he's too big of a heavy hitter to play his dad.
Oh, I did. Well, in the commentary that I heard from the producers, they didn't mention that. What they did mention is that they really wanted him, at least for the king at the end. And even the studio was against that. They said, we're not. We have somebody else in mind. So he aggressively went after Sean Connery's agent. Yeah, and said, look, you're not going to get paid. The studio won't get any money. Won't give me any money to pay you.
Yeah, right. I remember.
And
this
it's
now.
just a day thing. And he happened to be like visiting from the Pope. He had one day in England on his way back to the U.S.
Oh wow!
And he got in touch with Sean, and he's like, look, I can't pay anything, but I think it'll be a good cinematic history moment. Yeah. Sean was like, all right.
but somebody did, and I don't know where it came from. They actually sent money to like a charity, or something in Scotland that was related to.
Right.
Oh, really?
Connery. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So he did. There was like a base fee, like they pay any actors. Yeah. And Sean wouldn't accept it, and he said, give the money to some universities. That he supported in that area.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good on you, Sean. May you rest in peace.
Wait, he died?
Didn't he?
What?
Pretty sure.
When did Sean Connery die?
Sean Connery death.
Is that even possible?
October 31st at the age of 90. What year? 2020.
Oh. Wow.
What?
On Halloween Day in 2020? Well, BBC says October 31st, 2020. Yeah.
Oh my God. I had no idea.
Yeah, I think I even posted about it if you check our logs. But anyway. Yeah,
wow.
He died at the age of 90.
Okay. Craziness. Okay, well, thanks for bringing this down, Paul, with your facts. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, he died at 90. Okay, well, good on him for making it that long.
Yeah, so I like that about it.
Oh my gosh.
Shapers.
Wow. Well, you know what? Let's just keep this going, rolling this whole talking about the cast and stuff, rolling into classic makers. And I'll just start off with, for me, again, a cast choice for this film, Alan Rickman. Yeah. Here's my favorite thing about this film, and it's
the spoon.
Not the spoon. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, he did great at improvising. And I think what he was able to do was he brought so much likability and
Right.
dislikability to the same character. I mean,
Right.
it's amazing how I enjoyed every second he was on screen. I enjoyed it, but I also was happy when he died. It was this weird
Right.
dichotomy, which I think you rarely find. So that was my classic maker. JS, what was your favorite thing about watching Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves this time?
Oh man.
Well, while you're thinking about that, I have a little fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is this
thing
gonna
about
be?
Alan.
Is this gonna be about Alan Rickman?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he actually they reached out to him to do. They had him in mind for the sheriff, and he turned it down twice.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't until he learned he was a Whose Line Is It Anyway fan, and he learned that Mike McShane
that's
or whatever his
McShane.
name is.
Mike
McShane. Sorry,
Yeah.
Mike. Was attached, and Morgan Freeman, and all these people were starting to get more and more attached. He said, "Fine, I'll do it if you let free the reins. Basically, let me do what I want with the character." And they were like, "Yeah, go for it." So third time was a charm. We got Alan Rickman.
So you had to go to another country, and you have to try 3 times.
Yeah, turn him down.
That's what we're learning. Okay,
Yes.
okay. Wow. Okay, Jazz, what was your favorite thing?
Yeah, and I will add to that that Alan Rickman too. I don't know if Paul stumbled across this too, but it was interesting. Like he was really good friends with some screenwriters and different people, and
cool.
he hated a lot of the lines that they wrote for him. Thought they were pretty lame. So he actually had his friends like rewrite some of the stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
And kind of give it more of the wide ranging of the funny and also kind of evil, kind of give that and just really kind of spice it up some.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so he had them do that. And I think those guys were also like very high respect and everything, and they were like,
Of course.
okay, yeah, we'll take that, which is really weird too with like Hollywood, with the way that they do crediting for writers is like just ridiculous, because there's so many people that write on things and and do different specific things that never get credit, but they get paid. But they'll do stuff like that. And I guess I will bring this up now. I don't know if Francisco wanted me to bring it up later.
No, go for it.
But I did a comic called Robin's Sisterhood.
Yes.
And years ago, with an Argentinian artist, and it's kind of like a futuristic apocalyptic version, and then they kind of take on the guy who's kind of like, I don't know, was like the leader in the thing, and he takes on, and they start kind of really getting into the whole like mythos of like Robin Hood and all this stuff. So all these different characters and people in it are named after all these different characters. Like there's a girl named Scarlet, and there's a girl and they are just all these other like roles. And in it we have like gigantic trees that are like just like, and like Nottingham is on top of like this huge tree and everything. Like we just did really wild stuff. But anyways, the artist is also a really big film buff, really knows a lot about cinematography and everything. And he would go to a lot of the film festivals there. And right after we finished the comic, he saw Alan Rickman in Argentina and brought him the comic and said, we loved you as the sheriff. And he's like, I just wanted to like show you this, that that we had made this and all this, and he was like showing him, and he was like going through, and he was like laughing. He's like, oh my gosh, like I love this, like I love like just all of the kind of like the lore that we worked into it, and then all just the sci-fi and all these other like elements, and like but just to actually have kind of like the approval of like it was like, and I think he even took a copy. I think he made him kind of a rough like copy of all the pages, and he was like, yeah, I'll take it. It's like I love it and everything. So it was like that was like really cool.
That is totally cool. Wow.
But yeah, that was a really just having that, and it's one of those things where he kind of the artist. I think that was one of the times where he actually called me up from Argentina and was like, dude, Alan Rickman likes our comic. He's like,
that's so cool.
It was pretty cool. But yeah, I absolutely love his stuff, and I liked. And it's funny that you brought up the Raiders of the Lost Ark thing, because I think I had said in something to like Francisco that in a lot of ways it reminded me of some of like the classic Star Wars movies. Just the the wide-ranging balance and the wide range of characters and everything. Just felt like that. But yeah, as soon as you said the Raiders, it definitely kind of gives me some of those vibes. Definitely more like the first and the third one, I guess, than any of the other.
Yeah. Oh no, this is totally Temple of Doom, like hardcore Temple of Doom right now.
Yeah, when you're pulling the heart out.
Yeah, when you're with that witch cutting her arm. Oh yeah, totally Temple.
The extended edition is more Temple of Doom, but
yeah, and that's I did not get to watch, although I actually did buy it because I think I could get it for like $4 or something.
Oh, nice.
The extended edition, and but I wanted to see it because they said that because one of the things they did was they felt like Alan Rickman was upstaging not just Kevin Costner but like everybody else, so they cut a lot of either they cut him short or they cut some of his scenes from the movie.
Oh, really?
And
okay.
I think that a lot of his extra stuff made it back into the extended edition. So I am actually, I'd like to
watch that.
I'd like to see that. And it sounded like it would be that it gave it more of a kind of darker tone, because of all that stuff. And that's one reason why they did cut it, which I get when you're trying to get that big of a wide audience, and obviously it's successful for 300 million. I mean, that's
and I will say I didn't mention this, but I felt like Kevin Costner was very charismatic in the role of Robin Hood. I thought he did a great job himself. He wasn't quite my classic maker. Alan Rickman sort of I didn't feel like he upstaged him, but for what he did as a villain, I thought was great. But yeah, Jazz, what resonated with you the most in this film that you liked the most about it?
Oh man. I mean, honestly, just like overall, because I had seen so many, like other versions of Robin Hood, and yes, actually, I loved the Disney version of Robin Hood too. But a lot of the other stuff, I really, a lot of the other versions, I mean, they were just so far one way or the other, and it was just like Robin Hood Men in Tights, or it was and honestly, like even like Robin Hood, and this is something we haven't really said, but a lot of times like he was kind of over the top in a lot of the older movies, and very flamboyant and all this other stuff, and that was one of the things I liked about even though I wish they had let him do the accent, which they said they thought would be distracting, and I'm like, I guess if you're only thinking about American audiences, which I mean, back then that's what Hollywood did. They only thought about American audiences. But I think I don't know. Like to me, that would have given it more of like an epic feel. Like if they actually had let him do that. But they, I don't know. Hollywood people are weird, anyways. But I just really I really liked that it broke a lot of the tropes and stuff that were around Robin Hood without going to the extreme of we're just going to do the absolute opposite of all that, which a lot of times things will do, and just to have that kind of self-control of the way that you're kind of rephrasing and doing this. And I thought, I mean, and I like more intense, darker stuff.
Sure.
When like I like really being moved and hit in the gut and stuff like that when I see movies and TV shows, which I'm not really, not that I want to get off on a distraction here, but I'm really not thrilled about the light and bright way they're talking about doing the new Daredevil series with Daredevil on Disney. I'm like, he works because he's dark. I mean, that's what I just
Hell's Kitchen.
I don't know.
Yeah. Let's bring him to Disneyland.
It's
well, I'm not gonna. I mean, we are approaching our dislikes, so Disney will come into the fray, I'm sure. But oh wait,
no, I haven't done mine.
Oh, you haven't? Dang it!
It's all right. Hey, Francisco, it's fine because I was about to stop you. I have to fix my internet, so I have to log in and log out. So
okay,
break.
That's fine. Perfect. Okay. We'll await Paul's return right
stay
after
out.
this. No. Oh my gosh! Now the podcast can really get started. Now, notice how Roy Franco has not made an appearance, guys. Notice that Paul's been doing the podcast this whole time, and no Roy Franco to speak of. Now watch. While he's gone, Roy Franco will show up.
Yeah,
I know it.
Probably.
Yes. Anyway, let's see here. I'm just looking through chat, see what you guys are saying. Well, 2020 just ended about a month ago. That's a good point, T-Tux. It did. Yeah, Apple Dance agrees.
Yeah.
But did it end? I don't know, Paul, except that was from a while ago. Laughing. Okay. Caught up. It won't be because of me. I refuse to use multiple browsers and sign-ins. Color me lazy. That's fair, Ashley. Let's see. So we got dislikes coming up. I'm just making sure I'm all on top of it. I think we're doing okay with time. Would you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Who is Roy Franco? Yeah, exactly. That's the question, Ken. What were you about to say, James?
Oh no, I was just gonna say there were a few people that commented about T2 on there, and I had kind of a funny story when I went to see it because, so I took my sister and a couple of her friends to see Terminator 2. Actually, they had asked me to take them because none of them were old enough to see it, and it was rated R.
Okay.
So I'm there with all of these girls, 3 girls who are all underage, most of whom are shorter than me, quite a bit, and I'm the only person that gets carded.
What?
And when they were carding me, I was like, "You're carding me?" I was like, "You're carding me?"
Wow.
And the girls are like hitting me and kicking me and saying, "Shut up!" And I'm like, I'm the only one, and they're just like, yeah, they were like freaking out. But yeah, that was cool though. See, I'm really old if I saw T2 in the theater.
Yeah, you are. And why is Roy Franco here? You brought Roy Franco back with you, Paul.
Because you're Roy Franco.
I'm not Roy Franco. We could ban Roy Franco, but on the off chance it's just some person
he's
that's
the MVP.
Oh my gosh, that's a one stream. Anyway, yeah. Oh no, Apple Dance, exactly.
It's like baseball.
Wow, you have a fan and you want to ban him.
Oh my
Or
gosh.
her.
Wow.
It's definitely D-Tungsten. It might be. I don't.
Me. I'm too lazy.
Anyway, okay. So Paul, you
Do I
didn't do
sound
your.
okay?
Yeah, you sound fine.
Okay, just making sure. Yeah.
You
I
didn't
haven't done
do
my classic maker.
Okay, so we just heard from Jess with his the overall just the story, the way it was more like Rare's, more had a good mix of dark and light. Am I remembering that right?
Yeah,
Jess?
yeah.
Okay.
Because there is so much behind it and so many other versions of Robin Hood at that time that were especially so different too, that we didn't really have any real serious version of Robin Hood.
Yeah.
And I would
Awesome.
like to like one of the other Robin. I don't know if you guys do. If you guys saw the more recent Robin Hood movies, but I don't know. I didn't really.
I haven't seen
them as much.
I think this might be the most recent Russell Crowe version.
Crowe, don't waste your time.
The most recent Robin Hood movie I've seen. I saw like half an episode of the BBC series of Robin Hood, but I never really.
My sister likes that, but I was like, I mean, it's okay.
Oh, okay.
What's his name? Edgerton.
Yeah.
The one with the Jamie Foxx. I thought it was good, but it had potential to be better. I liked it, but there were some things that were great, like the whole why do they call it Robin Hood? I thought they did a great job with that. And there are some other things I thought they did a good job, but other parts of it could have used help.
That's why I was like, is this classic? Because this is about like the best version we've had.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll find that out soon, but we need to find out what Paul thinks is the most classic about this film. What's your classic maker, Paul?
Well, for me, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, the best thing about it is the score by Michael Kamen.
Yes.
I have the opening theme that that's on my playlist. Unfortunately, the CD that I got it from, it's coupled with Escaping from the Prison, so I kind of stop it like halfway in between the one track. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
But like the Maid Marian theme, what's interesting about that, that's a melody it's actually a couple hundred years old. That simple
really, oh wow,
that he took and he really infused the orchestra into it and kind of like made it his own. Michael Kamen did. And then taking that orchestra piece, he handed that off to Bryan Adams, and Bryan Adams made the theme song from that. So
okay. Oh,
it's like-
I was gonna say I thought it was from Bryan Adams' theme song
so
that he took.
a lot
but
of
okay.
people think that. A lot of people thought, oh, Bryan Adams wrote that music, and they incorporated
Yeah.
it in the score because they thought it was so good. It's actually the opposite. So it's actually a couple hundred years old, that tune. But so,
Craziness.
yeah, it's still a good theme.
And he's related to
is.
the Cayman Riders, right?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, and then the Power Rangers took up the mantle after that. Oh my gosh. Wow. Anyway, okay, so that was your favorite thing, Paul?
Yeah,
I think it's time to
score.
talk about maybe the things we didn't like so much, though. Sorry, guys, there's something really important. I need one more thing I like that I neglected. Yes, that I neglected to say, and that is the Cellcast. The Cellcast, hosted by Jacob and Drew, review animated movies and TV shows, discussing what they appreciate about the medium in whatever form it takes. Whether it is traditional hand-drawn animated movies, claymation shorts, or a 3D CGI series, check out some animated reviews when you subscribe to the Cellcast at thecellcast.podbean.com. And don't forget, Cell is spelled C-E-L at thecellcast.podbean.com.
That's great, Francisco, and so is the Cellcast, but what do they have to do with Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, live action? It's like them reviewing like Tron Legacy or something. What does that
They
have to
did
do with
review
I know.
Tron Legacy.
They just reviewed it last night. That's why I bring it up.
No, not C-E-L-L Apple Dance. C-E-L, one L.
Oh, like Robin Hood at the beginning was held in a cell. But not that cell.
Right.
No, not that cell. So the reason the Cellcast is like it is because you got Drew and Jacob, two guys that are like thick as thieves, you might say, in animation, and Robin Hood and Azim are become thieves in this because they steal from the sheriff of I was about to say Ryanham of Nineham. Yeah,
Because they're thick.
so that's how it's connected, Paul. Is that good?
Yeah, sure, right. Yeah. What? How?
Okay, fine. Forget that. How about some trivia about Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves? Would you prefer
Yes,
that?
much better, thank you.
All right. So, did you all realize that most of the songs the characters, and Paul actually spoke to this a second ago, most of the songs the characters sing and hum within this movie are actual medieval melodies. For example, the song Friar Tuck sings when you're introduced to his character is set to the tune of a song called Bacca Bene Venus. I'm going to totally mispronounce that. From the 13th century Codex Buranus. So my question to you all is, what song or tune does your mind sort of default to singing or humming whenever you're feeling, whenever you're absentmindedly just humming something? Is there a song or tune that your mind sort of defaults to? Let's start. Paul.
Usually it's like a song I heard 3 days ago, whatever that was. So, but if I had to pick one of that's more consistently in my head than others, I don't know off the top of my head. Maybe, What Would You Do with the Drunken Sailor?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
What would you do with the drunken sailor? Okay, yeah, I could see that. Nice.
Little tune. Nice little ditty.
How about you, Jess?
Yeah, I would say some of it has to do with what I've heard recently, probably, but also I was in a Christian rock band for 10 years, and I've also done some professional music. So a lot of times, depending upon my mood, it will bring back like one of those tunes or something that I created or was involved with, and
that totally makes sense.
And did that it just kind of So I'll end up like doing that and thinking those things, and like and it really just depends because like my son and I, there's this one song that I and it was like kind of like a really cool but like drum heavy worship song thing. But I actually got the rhythm from our windshield wipers.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So
and
every
it's
time
just-
they come on, it's that.
yeah,
song comes
it's
in
like
your
yeah,
head.
it's like it'll take me back to that. But it's funny because my son was like the same, and he's a drummer, and so we were like, but it just had really cool. It was like and I was like, oh, you know what? And then kind of started like humming melodies and stuff with it, and
So does the
there's, like,
song speed up and slow down depending on what setting you have your windshield wiper on?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly true.
And did you have to pay royalties to GM for that?
No, because we tune it different, so it's a slightly different
They
key.
auto-tuned
And
it.
as long as you do the 33% change, then it's enough for you to own
Oh,
it.
perfect.
So,
Okay, fantastic.
yeah, you know.
Oh my
Besides,
gosh.
GM couldn't handle their lawyers.
Here in chat, we had some responses that are interesting. Kenneth says Gone with the Wind. I don't even think I've never seen Gone with the Wind, so I have no idea how the music goes. D-Tung says right now think of Jurassic Park theme, but that's not typical. It's more for him. I think he's saying Robin Hood theme in Jurassic Park. Okay. For me, it's actually the Spark Mandrill stage from Mega Man X. Dun, 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 dun.
Were you stuck on that stage a lot?
No, it's just really good,
Oh,
Paul. Wow.
Otherwise, you'd hate that song.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
All the
exactly.
trauma
Yes.
coming back. No.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway,
All right. Great trivia, Francisco.
thank you, Paul.
And now that we've all had some trivial fun, let's find out what memories you, our awesome rewinders, had about Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Indeed. First from locals, Kenneth says, saw it on VHS back in the day. Just having Kevin Costner in it makes it nostalgic.
Okay, he brought up the VHS, and I wanted to bring this up earlier.
Oh.
In the VHS during the credits, the Bryan Adams theme music video plays during the credits.
Right.
And I'm like 90% sure, I could be mistaken, but I thought I remember in the theater seeing
I
the
think
Bryan
you're right.
Adams
Yep.
music video during the credits and thinking, wow, it's played everywhere, and if the people are going to see it even when they go to the movies. So, but in all the iterations now, it still plays, but it's just white text on black background, no music video. And in fact, the
So they actually had the music video in the theatrical version? Oh, I don't remember this.
going over it. while the song is playing, you can still hear it.
Mm-hmm.
But all the iterations now, whether it's streaming on video, it's just white text on the black background, no video with it.
Uh-huh.
And I was just wondering, what was I trying to? So I wonder if there's like a rights issue because
that's what I was thinking too.
Even with the distribution, like the special features on the Blu-ray, it comes with the music video, but it's not the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves version with them singing in the forest. It's Bryan Adams in a concert with all the people around singing, and like even on YouTube, the video has like 400+ million views, but it's not what we saw over and over at nauseam.
Right.
Like it's just
Right.
So it's really weird.
Yeah, but I think that makes sense that it's a rights issue
So,
for sure.
It's weird. But anyway, so Facebook, onto Facebook and what you, our Rad Rewinders, had, what you guys remembered. Drew Dodgen said, quote, we're men in tights. We run around the forest looking for, wrong movie.
Wow, Drew. Stanley Wright says, Bryan Adams, just kidding. A great remake of Disney Robin Hood. Wow, I don't think it was meant to be that.
No, that's why he has the laughing emoji behind it. Kevin Joshua Burnham says, Alan Rickman's performance is the only reason to watch this movie. Other than that, this movie was advertised to death everywhere. Billboards, cereal boxes, kids' toys, video games, you name it. It was there. The only way to tell the separate audiences between the American or UK version was the Prince of Thieves add-on title. Both of them are mediocre now. Interesting.
I didn't realize Prince of Thieves was added on to the title. Okay, cool. James Felix says, why a spoon, cousin? Why not an axe? Or because it's dull, you twit, it will hurt more.
Adam Cooling says, I remember...
Collins.
Adam Collings sorry, Adam Coolings. You have to go to the back of the line. Adam Calling says, I remember it was a huge deal. I liked it. Oh, I'll tell you what I really remember the most is that cool Sean Connery cameo at the end.
Yes, indeed. John Hardy says, seen in the theaters. That's what you remember. Okay.
Yeah. Becky Williams says, quote, no blades, no bows, leave your weapons here.
Patrick Edwards, also in kind, says, no blades, no bows, leave your weapons here. Quote this line to myself almost every time I go through a security checkpoint.
That'd be funny if you came across a security checkpoint and they were doing that. Kristen Rish Victor says, quote, there once was a prince from Nottingham who tried to cross the river. What a dope. He tripped on a rope. Now look at him shiver.
Pray for mercy, rich man. Dustin Warford says, you know it's true. Everything I do it for you.
There's no... Oh, sorry. Wardell White says, I remember having wild times watching this in theaters. Classic Maker, Bryan Adams' Everything I Do It For You. Tragic Maker, it's a teeter-totter between the sheriff trying to force himself on Maid Marian or the sight or sense of Morgan Freeman's character as like kryptonite to the witch. They tried to make it a comical thing, but I don't think it was funny either way. They were eye rollers for me.
All right. Philip Hurd says, thought it was amazing back in the day, and the last time I revisited the film, it was still good, just not great.
Aaron Wallace says, Alan Rickman is a legend in this film.
Michael Fraley says, I remember the last time I started watching this movie, my wife came home in the middle of the film, looked at the screen and said, why? Followed by soon after, can we please turn on something else? I never got around to finishing the movie. I can't say I'm sad about it. And then, right? And then here live in chat, D. Tungsten says, I remember the Bryan Adams music being annoying, but I got used to it. All right. Let's see. Kevin says, I don't recall that on the VHS. I don't own this movie. All right. You already gave us a memory, Ken. Let's see.
Yeah,
but he also remembered Blockbuster Rental. This was after my third born came, so we were not in the theaters. That's fair. Yeah, D. Tungsten also remember seeing the movie back in the day, not in the theater, and don't remember the credits being over the music video. I remember hating on the advertising of the movie and begrudgingly watching it and liking it. Okay, one memory a person, guys. Come on now. All right. Anyway, thank you all so much for sharing your memories. And I feel like Michael Fraley's comment sort of leads us into things we don't like about the movie. What would cause us to turn it off halfway through? So let's get into our
Worst woes.
Yeah, those worst woe things we don't like about this film. And I'll kick things off. And that's with... Dang it, Paul, every time. And this maybe I'm giving too much credit to Robin Hood, Kevin Costner, Robin of Locksley, his character in this version of the film. But
yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Why is it they do all this planning
because
they make
it'll
all these
hurt more
swords, all these bows and arrows. They do a great montage of them like getting upskilled and leveling up, all the woodsmen, everything. That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. They do all that planning, and they use fire arrows themselves. You'd think they'd think, okay, maybe if they find us, they'll bring fire arrows. Maybe we should have a fallback position, maybe in a cave or something with a choke point. So why is it not like everyone? Oh, we're found out. Make your way to the fallback position. No. Oh my gosh, I guess we're just toast now.
Yeah.
I'll
attempt to answer that.
Okay.
I don't think they were ever. They didn't have a fallback position because they didn't think they would ever be found out. That's why there's all the secret, like...
Yeah.
But there's another... They were in the best spot to create, their little village. Mm-hmm. And plus, what fallback position could you... What if they attacked from the fallback position?
That's a good point, Paul. Well, that's why I said like a cave. You're not going to come out of a cave to attack them. You're going to come from
the caves in the forest.
Well, maybe they should dig one down into the earth. Ever think about that? But Jess, were you gonna say something?
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's a forest, so there wasn't a lot of. I mean, they have trees.
Well,
They could have built
there was-
something in the trees.
Yeah, they should build a second village and fall back to that.
I think it was. It was a village on top of theirs. That was the second one that they burned with it.
Okay, it was a small quibble. That's why I thought I'd open. Jess, what's something you didn't care for about Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves?
Your smallest quibble about it.
My smallest quibble is probably, which I understand too, and especially like once I kind of was looking back at all this stuff and just seeing how they only had like days to film and in between him doing all the other stuff. But I kind of I hated how fake some of the sets looked. Not necessarily the sets themselves, but like the background, especially like in the when they escaped the jail. I mean, you can totally tell.
Oh, okay. I was like, I mean, like I have behind me as like my background this forest and water. I'm like, I don't think that's a sound stage. I think that's real.
Yeah.
No, when they escape from the cell though, and like you
in Turkey,
in Turkey, and you just see behind. I mean, it just looks totally like. And there's a couple scenes and things like that it was so obvious that it kind of like those things kind of pull me out. When
I can see that.
But at the same time too, I mean, I don't know, like it kind of has a little bit of a stage play vibe to it.
Yeah, I could see that.
Not a lot, but so I don't think it's like the worst, but I kind of hate that when I see that in films.
But what's impressive is they didn't use any special effects, After Effects, green screen, or even matte paintings. It was all practical.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it has some of that play stage feel to some of those scenes.
I will say the exteriors of the castles looks great. The interiors felt more like
they all are because they're all real.
Those are all real.
Interiors are on stages. They built.
Yeah,
those.
so that's why I felt like there was almost. It felt manufactured. I know castles are they're made. I'm not saying they're like organically created, but it's recently manufactured. Exactly.
Yeah, which is funny because it's like the outside is like hundreds of years old, and the inside is like 20 days old,
maybe 50 years old at the oldest.
So yeah, I can totally see how that would take you out. That sort of like that. I already used dichotomy today, but that sort of that contrast,
juxtaposition.
Yes, exactly. Paul, was there something that contrasted against all the likes that made this like stand out as something you didn't like?
No, I'll go with another transition. My smallest quibble about this film is a small thing. I didn't understand how when Maid Marian is first introduced, she is basically a guard trying to shoo Kevin Costner's Robin Hood out. And he fights back, and then she's slashing the sword, or dagger, or knife, trying to kill him. Like any one of those slices could have hit a jugular, or it could have been lethal. So she's trying to kill him. And he's fighting, and it's not till like he is able to grasp her hand and kind of take control of the situation, and it's revealed that she's Maid Marian.
Yes.
So right after she's trying to kill him for whatever reason, maybe she didn't like him as a child. Who knows?
Yeah, I get that from that he bullied her and burned her hair. Yeah.
So let's kill this punk. And then it fades into like, an exterior shot, music played, people walking by, and then they're sitting next to each other, just them by themselves, and they're talking, and she's not trying to shank him anymore. She's not trying to kill him. I'm like, what's going on? Why introduce this female character as trying to kill him, and then literally 3 seconds later they're chummy? I don't
think 3 seconds literally passed in that. She has to disrobe her bodyguard armor, put on. Well, yes, know that, but
as the viewer, I guess that transition, that faded transition in the music really helped, because most people don't even notice or are not questioning. Like, what the heck happened to the motivation behind this?
Well, it's those 35-year-old hormones kicking in.
Oh,
Yeah, of course. Yes.
See, if they were teenagers, you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, they hate
you look
each other,
kind
they
of
love
hot
each
for
other.
a 30-year-old.
Wow. But that's a good point, Paul. I never really thought about that, though. It seems like there'd be a lot more like caginess on her part, especially if she's willing to kill him.
Right.
I mean, I would assume she can recognize him, that is Robin, even through fighting. So
she knew.
it seems like a little.
Doesn't
they
make
were
sense.
a bit too chummy. I could see him being like, both wanting to protect her because that was the promise he made, and also feeling attraction. I could see all that on his side. I can't really see it from her at that point in the movie, for sure.
Yep.
All right, that's totally fair. Let's go back to JS. What's something else you didn't like, JS?
Trying to think I have like 5 things, so I'm just trying. I'm trying to.
Oh,
think out
I
what
hear
is
you.
Not the worst.
I know it's hard to choose. I have like a whole menu of dislikes here.
Oh my gosh, you guys!
Well, and this is, I guess some of the corniness that I felt like didn't really serve the film. I mean, it does if you want a certain vibe, because like even with some of the classic like Star Wars and Indiana Jones stuff, like there's a little bit of corniness.
Absolutely,
and it's like I kind of wish that they didn't.
I agree. There are parts in it that are just way too over the top or corny. Trying in the name of humor, it's a little too much.
What can you guys name an example?
Like the telescope. He's looking through the telescope. He knows they're like a mile away, and he looks through the telescope and he's trying to hit them with his sword, even though he knows they're a mile away. Yes, it's supposed to be funny, but it's still over the top. It doesn't make sense. It's corny.
It makes sense to me. But I guess I'm simple that way, guys.
Yeah.
How your kind ever took Jerusalem, I'll never know.
Well,
anyway, go ahead, Jess.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, but I think you're probably more into the. It's easier to get into the retro vibe for you probably, and be like, okay, I'm gonna watch this as if it was like back then.
Yeah.
No, I just watch it as I am now. I'm just a child at heart.
1991.
Because there's stuff like that. Yeah, there's stuff like that, and it's funny. Ben Avery and I will have a lot of talks about different things, and he can totally like watch stuff that like it is really hard for me to get through now. That has not aged well.
Sure, yeah.
And so some of that, yeah, exactly. Like when he said, I mean, there's certain things that are just played so far. It's like, okay, it's like I was into the movie until you took me out of it.
Man, that's a bummer. Okay, but I can see that. I can totally understand that. Was there anything specific that like comes to mind for you? Was it the telescope thing? Was it something else, or is it just
just a few different things? Like even though like I liked the Friar Tuck thing, I mean, there's a couple like little things they had him do, which now that I know that he was on Whose Line Is It Anyways, makes more sense that they might push.
Yeah, like him like gnawing his leg. I was like, really, dude?
Yeah.
I thought,
which I mean, it's funny, but it's like.
Yeah, it's a bit much for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Paul, what's something else you didn't like about Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves?
This is almost my
tragic maker. Wow. Okay.
But I'm gonna say Kevin Costner.
What?
Oh my gosh! First of all,
you better have a better person in mind for this role after this. That's not Carrie Elways, but continue.
Harrison Ford.
Okay, first
That'd
of
be
all,
really odd.
Kevin Costner. He comes. That's weird that they didn't want him speaking in
English
accent because on the commentary they said they had a vocal coach. So, and just because he is so American in this, but there are parts of it that maybe were filmed early on that that you could tell he's trying to speak in an English accent. For example, this line here I'm about to play. Listen to the way he says horse and purse and truly and hope so. He gives it this like English accent when, when he robs one of the rich people.
It's a hot day, my friend, to burden your horse with such a heavy purse. I truly hope so.
Okay, so there it's almost like he's got an English thing, but that kept coming in and out throughout the movie, little bits.
Yes.
And then you have other things that's completely American, like
that way.
You are sure?
I would know blindfolded. I'm 5 miles from home.
He's so American, he calls it miles, not kilometers.
I totally missed that. Did they
I don't think it would have been kilometers back then.
Yeah, well, I don't think it would have been, but I don't know if it would have been miles. It'd be leagues.
It wouldn't be miles,
maybe.
Though, yeah.
I could say, I think leagues would probably be what they would say. But
well, anyway, it's just he's like in this movie, he totally phoned it in. He had like one note. Actually, he had 3 notes. It was all middle, and then there slightly above, he was like, "Oh, he's happy about something," and slightly below that is, "Oh, he's sad about something." And it was right in this middle range that it was just. That's why I say he phoned it in. I mean, here you have
get that at all. I felt like he gave a lot of like subtlety and subtext.
No,
all right.
Yeah, there's so much subtlety right in the middle range throughout the whole thing.
Exactly, Paul. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
he's steady.
Yes. Okay. So let's take it towards the end when Christian Slater comes back and warns them, "Hey, there's going to be a hanging." This is Christian Slater, 21 years old. He's he has a good act. In my opinion, this is one of his best acting moments in all his movie career, and he's a much better actor than
he's given credit for.
Well, than Kevin Costner in this whole film.
Oh wow, okay.
But I mean, he's done Heathers. He has a good thing behind him. Right. He had just done.
He's on The Wizard.
Yeah,
he
did The Wizard like a year or two before. Yeah, he was playing
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh my gosh,
it's so bad.
But just Kevin Costner in this role was. Now here's the weird thing: Kevin Costner is a leading man. Like if you put Christian Slater, who was acting better, right next to Kevin Costner playing like the role he did, both wanted to lead, I would choose Kevin Costner. There's some X factors about him.
Yes, exactly.
I don't understand what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would choose him. But I mean, come on, he got paid how much? Let's bring a little more emotion to some of these things. It's just
I guess I felt that emotion. I don't know why I did. I was charmed by him, but that's a fair estimation.
I think he's a fine guy, but I'm not charmed as much as these other people.
Well, I think someone like you mentioned Harrison Ford. Yes, I feel like Harrison Ford has a lot more charisma than Kevin Costner. I'm trying to think of other like leading men, say that I feel like Robert Downey Jr., another person that I feel like has a lot more charisma. But I feel like Kevin Costner did a good job in this role. Who would you have preferred to see in this role, Paul?
Well, you took my answers. Carrie Elways. Let's bring the Princess Bride crew in. And let's see how they do
my
it.
gosh! Wow.
Well,
let's
Paul,
just remake Princess Bride, guys.
Paul, I do have a trivia. I have a fun fact for you. Christian Slater actually made the name of Mr. Robot after Kevin Costner.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's
because of how well he acted.
Because of how well he acts. Yeah.
Who's Mr. Robot?
That's a TV show that Christian Slater's on.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm joking.
Okay.
But...
Oh, okay. Jeez.
That's funny.
Wow. Real quick, this just in. Beep 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 beep. Kenneth says, by a decree of the 8th of May, 1790, the French National Constituent Assembly ordered the French Academy of Sciences to develop a new measurement system. Okay, so this takes place in like
this is
1400s
or 1300s.
Yeah, exactly, which is why the meters and all that would not be the measurement system. That's what he's trying to say.
All right, fine. I know the miles. Some people say it was developed like 500 or 600 years ago. Other people say, well, the Romans used it. I don't know.
Whatever, but you're right. I feel like miles might be. Yeah, I could see how that seems
Fine,
very American.
But no one could deny you
United
talk
States,
with an American accent. Raised in
a United
England.
States in accent? Yes, I agree.
Yes. Yes.
Are we still on this topic?
Yeah.
Who? Give me a name, Paul. Give me a name.
Carrie Elwes.
Not Carrie Elwes. You had to pick someone else.
All right, give me
Serious
time.
name.
He is.
Okay.
I
you
think
think
he's
about
charming.
you think about Paul while I go to my last dislike
All right.
before we get to Tragic Makers. So the thing that I didn't like, and this sort of goes off of, well, goes back to Maid Marian and her maidservant, I think, Sarah. I forget what her term for her is, but I don't understand why they get to the forest. The forest movement event, or no, the forest hideout of Robin Hood and his woodsman band of people. They get to them, and she's like, oh well, Robin's like saying, oh, you can't leave now because you know the way here, and she's like, oh well, me and Sarah were blindfolded, and he's like, oh darn it, struck out there. But okay, so that's fair. But then why do they have to go back on a boat? When they could just be blindfolded again. I don't get this. Why is it different?
Well, why? Who cares? 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
No, I need it to be the same. I need you to take the same route, blindfolded, back.
No, you wouldn't do that.
Why not?
Because then it would be easier for them to figure it out.
How? They're blindfolded. This isn't Sneakers. They don't have audio cues of ducks in the background. I know there's a deep cut for Sneakers, but come on, guys.
Yeah, I don't know.
All
think
right. All right.
I think it's fine.
Like I said, maybe I'm showing my cards here with just these minor quibbles of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. But Paul, do you have a lean man?
Yes, Rick Moranis. No, I'm joking.
Oh my gosh.
No, it would be interesting
because
to see,
good is dumb.
No, I think Rob Roy, Liam Neeson.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
That's a great take.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson, yes.
Back
all right,
then.
all right.
But can do an American accent. That's.
I think that's the point.
Good point. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yes, that's a great take. Okay, let's get to the things that were the worst though about Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. We wish they could steal it back. We could steal our time back from this movie because of these things. Let's begin with Jazz. What did you hate most about this film?
I would say a few things, but I would say definitely the worst is the attempted rape scene.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
You think he should have committed fully?
Oh
I think it was,
wow.
I think it was. And it's funny because some of the things that Paul has said and different things like online, I'm like, oh man, if Paul and I were in more things together, we would get in a lot of trouble. Because,
wow.
Because
like
anybody that has watched playing games live knows that sometimes some of my jokes are a little edgy and they get cut.
Oh,
and
okay.
it's just because it's just kind of like there, and I'm like, you know. I'll just
do you ever tell jokes?
Like, no.
Do you ever tell jokes about how dogs should be killed by being dissolved into sand?
Not this year.
Francisco's all about killing the dog, the animal, the horse.
Because they always want to save the dog. I'm so tired of Hollywood thinking, "Oh, we got it." The kids can die. All the humanity can die, but we gotta save that dog. No, I'm tired of it. The dog dies, the cat dies, the humans live.
Everybody dies to raise the stakes.
Yeah. And I'll just say I remember being in the theater, but also other times when I have watched it with other people, it gets a little cringy with the
I could see that.
Scene, with the it's just because but the hard thing is, and this is one as a storyteller, as somebody who does these kinds of things.
Yeah, how'd you raise those stakes if you're
it's and the thing is, like, if you kind of play it off, then you're kind of like making rape a joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and it's, I mean, it's a really tough line
Yes,
to do,
absolutely.
and I'll say this is because this is one of the things that happened with me with one of my stories, which is about like child abuse and molestation
Oh,
and
yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And we tried to like not show a lot, but
Yeah.
then like the two main complaints we got, like from one publisher, was there wasn't enough like shown to justify like the story or whatever, and then the other side was there was too much shown, and I was like,
Yeah.
so then it's just right. Because,
yeah, exactly, right?
because it's like it's kind of like, and it's just it's a rough thing to do when you deal with a
Yeah.
more serious like thing, and you don't want to make it a joke.
Right.
You
Yes,
know?
exactly.
And the producers, they called in a number of people to overlook this, like from the studio, to try to get different perspective. What is the most family friendly? Because they want family in it, but they still try to relay what's going on, like
because
push that
I think
envelope. And you still think they pushed it too far? It's too.
Well, I just think for the people, and it's probably because, just because of the different people or the specific females or whatever that I have like seen it with or have been around when it, and that they're kind of like, it's like, I don't know, just it was a little bit for that kind of a film that was more like an Indiana Jones thing, even though Indiana Jones has kind of pushed it with some different stuff, but still it's just one of those. But at the same time too, it's like, it's supposed to be cringy,
it is, because this is the villain doing this, you want a reason to kill him,
exactly,
because I feel like up till then, I don't know if
that's done definitely.
No, he killed Robin's father. He deserves.
But that takes place. That's so like at the beginning of the film, and even hanging all those people. He's not like doing it himself. Like just.
Well, he's
tearing out the entrails.
If Hitler never killed anybody personally,
exactly, Paul. That's exactly what I'm saying. Except it's not at all.
Sounds exactly like it.
Oh my god.
Okay.
In the context of this film, I feel like you really needed a good reason to kill him.
Oh.
Speaking of killing people that aren't necessarily justified, though, great segue, I will say, is for me, my tragic maker is actually that. Okay, well, I'll set this up because I love in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, they have a Christian character that isn't just totally corrupt, just the worst ever, totally inept, nothing. They have Friar Tuck, which is I love that I think he's a great he's not a lay character because he's a man of the cloth and some, I don't know where friars sort of rank in that or what like vows they have to take or whatever, but he's above the laity, and he's also like he has his own like issues. He's like he is I hate saying racist, I like saying ethnicist, but he has preconceived notions about Azim.
I think it's more the religion.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, exactly. He thinks if you don't believe in Christ, you're like or you're not a Christian, you must be a heathen and you're not to be trusted at all. He has prejudices for sure. But he's also like he tries to save the kids. He's trying to say how good God is because of beer. I mean, there's a lot. I feel like he's a well-rounded Christian perspective.
Well-rounded.
I didn't mean it that way. I mean, yeah, that's right. I'm that punny. But the thing I don't, and then you have that juxtaposed to the bishop character, which is a very corrupt Christian character, which is more common of what you see in Hollywood film making and storytelling. So I hated, though, that they took this character and they had Friar Tuck kill the bishop. I would have much rather him been imprisoned, sent into the dungeon, to all his gold stolen away and given out to all the poor or something. I just feel like his death was not justified, especially by the character that we're setting up to be the sort of the Christian character. So I didn't like that.
Bishop, who was in coercion with all the killings and the death, should have been killed because he was just on the wrong side.
No, he should not have been killed, is what I'm saying. He should have been imprisoned for his life or something like that.
Oh, I see.
I don't think having our Friar Tuck kill this person essentially in cold blood when he's like defenseless essentially is a great look.
Mob mentality. It all builds, and then all
what mob? He's there by himself,
and everybody's killing everybody. I couldn't help it. I just got caught up in it.
I'm sorry. The purge is going on. What was I thinking? Just one day.
I mean, technically, he didn't kill him. He just pushed him out the window.
Yeah, that's true.
Gravity killed him.
The ground that killed him.
Not my fault. God created laws like that.
He needed to rotate in the air and like land on the money, then he would have survived. But
wow. Yeah, just like Scrooge McDuck, just dive, like throw those money bags down and dive into them. Yeah, that's how you do it. Oh my gosh. So that was my tragic maker. That leaves Paul. What did you hate most about Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves?
Well, we're reviewing the theatrical version.
Yes.
But I also, this is kind of a cheat, but I'm
okay.
I
hate that director's commentary.
Which is only available on the extended edition. My tragic maker is the extended edition of this film. Because there's so many things.
Don't watch it. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
But unfortunately, it's the only thing available on Blu-ray or any disc
out
really? now.
Oh, okay.
You can find it on DVD, but nobody wants to watch 480 if they have to. It's the only thing streaming. You can't, when you try to buy it on streams. What I mean is people who are selling it for streams.
Yeah,
like Apple
Amazon.
It's all you can't find the theatrical. It's only streaming on HBO Max right now that they have the regular, which I think we
that's what I watched.
Right.
Yeah.
So at least there's that available. But like, if you want to buy it for yourself, it's the only thing available, which is not good, because I personally don't think it's like, if we reviewed the extended edition, I guarantee almost all my dislikes would be in the extended, because it's way darker. Some of the plot points don't make sense, and even then it's going too far that it distracts from the overall story. It's like, why is that?
Yeah.
So just the extended edition, I think Warner Brothers was wise to cut that out, and I think it's a better movie for it. So my tragic maker, some people love the extended edition. I'm one of those that says no thanks.
Okay. And you're not like opposed to all extended editions, I believe.
No,
it's just,
no. Usually I'm like, hey, the more the better. You know, give me the 12-hour Dune or 18-hour Dune as an option. Don't say, oh, the only version of Dune out there is the 18-hour one. Like, give us an option.
Gotcha.
You know?
Okay. Yeah, I get that. Okay. Yeah. So that the extended edition, essentially being you being shoehorned into getting the extended edition, is your tragic maker.
Right.
All
right.
right.
I don't like that version compared to the theatrical.
Sure, I get that. All right. So, it's kind of like you can only get the Star Wars. You can't get the original version of Star Wars.
Right,
you can only get the remastered one.
Yeah.
These days,
but
I feel like it's kind of like that.
Look.
Okay.
Wink,
all right.
Kind of like HBO Max. You can if you know where to look.
Sailing the high seas. I gotcha. Yeah. Anyway, now that we've entered all our targeting information into the firing computer, Alice, you have a firing solution for us.
Right. Firing solution complete. Rating salvo at the ready. On your mark.
Salvo authority.
That's right. Time for the moment of truth, and it's salvo at the ready, Paul. How many years have we been doing this?
I'm trying to get my salvo authority ready.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, do we rate Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves a classic? We'd recommend anyone go out and see this film, whether or not they've seen it before. A nostalgic, if you watched it as a kid or young adult, give it a rewatch now if it's been like a long time. Definitely worth your time to revisit it. But if you've never seen it before, probably go watch another version of Robin Hood. Or do we rate it a tragic? It's not worth anyone's time. If you have never seen it before, definitely keep it that way. And if you have seen it before, don't sully any good memories you have of it with a rewatch. So we'll start with our guest, JS. What is your final reign for Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves? You had predicted nostalgic. Did it end up there or go up or down?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, definitely nostalgic. But at the same time, like I said earlier, I don't like if someone said I want to watch Robin Hood TV show, movie, like whatever, I would probably recommend this one.
Okay.
I mean,
all right.
it's just, but it's not. I still think that there is a better Robin Hood to be made.
I agree
yeah.
with that.
Yes, absolutely. But of what we have now, this is it. But it's still not such a great just movie in general that you would
need
make
to
it a
get the
classic.
Foxy version.
Yeah.
Foxy? Oh my gosh, Paul.
The-
Paul,
Yeah.
what is your final rating? And then we'll go to our Rewind Republic.
All right. So just so that you know, when I finished watching the movie, I had one thing listed on my like and about 20 dislikes.
And you had predicted classic for this.
Predicted classic.
Okay. Wow.
But would I recommend it to somebody? Yeah. I think despite all those 20 things, I would still recommend it. Like, it's a good, fun adventure movie. Now, I don't highly recommend it. I barely recommend it. So it barely makes my classic rating.
Yeah.
And it's not one that certainly, if you watched it once, like, wait for it to, let it simmer a bit. Don't watch it for a while before you watch it again, kind of a thing, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, if you've never seen it, I recommend giving it a watch.
Okay. Now, if we go to our Rewind Republic, I'm just going to double check the votes here. And according to them, if I average them together and or just take the votes as they are, they all rate Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves collectively nostalgic. So that leaves 2 nostalgics and a classic. And once you know, I rate it a classic. So we're tied, dang it. So, womp, 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 womp. Yeah, I was going to say, give me that Back to the Future 3 drop, Paul. This is sort of unprecedented.
I blame Aaron.
That's right, Aaron.
We were supposed to have a female perspective on this show today, but things, life happens.
Life happens. People are busy. It happens. Thank you, JS, for being on, and everyone who's ever been on the show before or will be on the show in the future. Thank you so much for taking the time. We really appreciate that.
But as far as having a draw,
so you know what, Francisco from the future, I'm sure you figured just something out by now. What is our final rating for Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves?
Wow.
And we come back. Yeah, see, that's the way I guess it should have panned out, all in all. Oh my gosh, Paul. Anyway, now it's time to get back to our own time. Good old 20XX.
20XX?
Comsat online. Receiving incoming transmission.
Feels good to be back, but we wouldn't have been able to travel back to 1991 to begin with if it weren't for our amazing reflux capacitors, namely Deborah Powers, Geek Devotions, Drew of the Cellcast, Ashley Ruiz, Kennethan, Fabulous Lomax, Rosie Lomax, That's Our Bobo, D. Tungsten, Dale, Mr. Lost, Gerald Hafner, Cool Deluxe, and newest supporter, Redeemed Otaku, in addition to 2 other awesome patrons as well. Thank you all so much for keeping the gigawatts coming. And if you want to keep us flying and get bonus content for your generosity, head over to retrorewindpodcast.com/support to start.
I'm so sorry, Francisco. Do you mind if we take a few moments?
No, that's fine.
Okay, cool. I wanted to do this. I should have done this ahead of time. But I wanted to try out a couple of impersonations. Like, let's just have some fun with this.
Okay. While you're doing that, let me ask your mom real quick what she rates this.
She's trapped in a bubble. She should have a say.
Exactly, yeah. But go ahead. Do I
right.
need... Can I just listen, or do I need to...
No. We'll all try this.
Okay.
Let's see. JS, while he's typing that, do you have a good impersonation of like Alan Rickman or
I used to actually be able to imitate him pretty well, but
really?
I'm not that good anymore. I can't even remember what I used to do, but I think there were actually I did
Where
some of the
are my
lines
detonators?
from this and some other And I like the spoon stuff. And
Can you say this stream is sponsored by PaulJPowers.com as Alan Rickman?
no.
No. Okay. How about Sean Connery? Or wait,
Oh no.
no.
I'm
Francisco?
terrible at impersonations.
No, that's
now.
fine.
I
We're
used
just
to be
having
good.
fun.
Yeah. So you want me to do Sean Connery?
Yes, do Sean Connery.
There you
Do
go.
Sean Connery.
This stream here is
Your
sponsored.
best. Stream here is sponsored by PaulJPowers.com.
That sounds a lot like your Gandalf.
Then whatever, Paul.
Oh, Morgan Freeman.
I can try to do Azim if you want. This stream is sponsored by PaulJPowers.com.
That's what.
Don't whine like a mule, like PaulJPowers.com.
Do you, JS?
Oh.
I can't even. I'm not going to even attempt that. Wait.
Allah likes wondrous variety, and you can find wondrous variety at PaulJPowers.com.
That almost sounds Indian, but okay.
Yeah, I know, but that's sort of his accent
Wait.
remind me sort of Indian-ish, so I don't know what to.
What am I talking about? I got a time machine. I just go back and get Morgan Freeman. Hold on, okay? All right. Sorry about that. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
What makes this day just a little bit brighter is knowing that this stream is sponsored by PaulJPowers.com.
There we go. And while we're thanking people, we want to give a big Friar Tuck hug.
Yes, Friar Tuck hug.
To J.S. Earls and for supporting us with his thoughts about Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves tonight.
Indeed.
So, J.S., where can people find you online? Is there anything cool you got going on?
I have way too many cool things going on.
All right,
honestly.
well, where can people find you where you got cool things going on?
Yeah,
first?
the best places to find me are on Facebook, honestly. And I would say, like, if it's specifically me, Facebook, also my Patreon, patreon.com/JSEarls. I'm also semi-active on Instagram. Yeah, and a few of the other podcasts and things, the Playing Games with Strangers, the Supersonic stuff, hoping to finish out soon.
Come on.
For people who are unfamiliar, can you give like a small little, like 1 or 2 sentence about each that describes it so that...
Yeah, Playing Games with Strangers is a family-friendly D&D podcast, pretty much. With the great thing is that it's done with a bunch of our Supersonic pod comics actors.
Yes.
And that was one of the reasons why we started it. Actually, it was birthed from the pandemic and just wanting to do something fun and just to be a little bit more silly and put things out for people. And then it's kind of gone on for many episodes now. And there is a playinggameswithstranger.com website where there's a lot of cool stuff, a lot of talented people involved with it. A lot of them will kind of push things towards me, but they're really very artistic and very creative, and it's a blast for that cast, and we have a lot of fun, and that's why we do it. I am a producer on the new Sithrah podcast, Sithrah, which also features Josiah Crandall as the kind of director, and I write the adaptation of that. It's been a smash hit,
cool.
webtoon from Jason Brubaker, who is kind of like one of the lead artists on the and designers for Kung Fu Panda. He worked on a bunch of stuff. He did Pitch Black, and he's done a whole ton of other stuff. But very cool Christian guy, and a very cool story. Anybody that likes like Miyazaki, and if you're also like a Christian, you would like this because it's kind of like a Christian Miyazaki story or a Western, as in American Miyazaki story. It's very artistic, and but like the production on it and stuff is awesome. It just got done. Anybody who really likes sharks, or you kind of like the Meg movie, I'm the designer on the. Well, I also wrote the graphic novel version that's based on the book, not the movie. The movie is very different from the book.
Oh, interesting.
But the book series now I think has about like 6 or 7 novels in it, and they're getting ready to do a big classic version with like leather covers and everything. I'm actually the designer on that and designing a lot of those things. Yeah, and actually you'll see. I never complained about it, but like my name tends to show up first. Yeah. On the Meg graphic
on
novel,
Amazon,
and I'm like, no, you take that down. You take my name off the first. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not saying nothing to nobody. But yeah, and I do have some novels and novellas and other things I did. Anybody that really likes, which I highly recommend, some of the stuff that I enjoyed doing the most was graphic novel adaptations of 5 different Ted Dekker graphic novels. Those are really, really good. They're really hard to find and come by, and they haven't released them. But if you can, and there's also like a collected volume. They call it like the visual edition. Those are really, really good. One of them, I would say the Lost Books.
Novel?
Ted Dekker Lost Books.
Okay. Graphic novels.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it will be. It's actually not one of my favorite covers that they use for it. I wonder if that's those are the novels.
The cover.
Well, and you can find like when you go. I'm trying to see. Yeah, they're kind of like most of these things are like. I mean, they haven't been in print for a while.
Oh, I see.
But they were. When the stuff actually came out, especially because he did a Circle trilogy that they call kind of like the cross between the Matrix and Lord of the Rings, which is a pretty good explanation.
That sounds amazing. Like no one can live up to that explanation.
Exactly, and that's why. And I mean, the cool thing is, and I did like it when he did it, is that it like every chapter which gets a little crazy, but most of the first novel and the graphic novel version and some other stuff, but it usually like every chapter he wakes up in our world, and then he wakes up in this like fantasy world, and then he wakes up in our world, and it's kind of, and I mean he's either being knocked out or whatever, or he's like dreaming or like but it keeps constantly going back and forth, but like things. It's a really cool way to kind of parallel like the physical world and the spiritual world, and the way that they do it, and it's super well done. And I got to write the finale version, like the because they're all based on you know the Christian bracelet things with the green, red, black, and white.
The what would Jesus do bracelets?
Right. It's based on those. I mean, so like the first book is black.
Yeah. That's right.
So it's and but there's those. Okay, so what I was gonna say is, when those came out, and this is like how big he was. Like at that time, when those came out, it was like the #1 graphic novel on Amazon.
Wow.
Oh,
like
wow.
it beat out, which I think I'm trying to think like Marvel's or Kingdom Come or something like it actually like beat those out to be like #1. I was like, wow, this is bigger than I knew it was going to be big, because his fan base back then was like really rabid, and I love him to death. I mean, he's a fantastic guy. He was much, even though like he and I are like, we were like both like big Lost fans and all this other stuff, and we were both kind of like coming up in kind of the different artistic and entertainment industry stuff around the same time. He obviously did better than I did, but we were so excited when we got to work together, because we had been like emailing and stuff for a while. And but the coolest thing is his default was to like talk to people about God. Like when he like saw me, and he's like walking past, like when I saw him in Tennessee for this big thing, he was walking past like his editor and his and like some other people and like some other writers and things that were there, and he's like and there had been some really cool stuff, kind of like revival and different things happening in Florida, and he like was like, when he got to his agent's house, he like kind of passed them, and he just like pulled up a chair next to me. He's like, "Tell me what God's doing."
And it was like, and it was just really, it's really cool for that. So it didn't surprise me. He's doing some YA kind of like kid stuff with his daughter now, actually.
Oh, cool.
Writing
Okay.
stuff. But he kind of like at the height of his things when he was literally like making millions of dollars as a Christian author or a Christian who was an author that was starting to get really big. He walked away from it and pretty much said, you know, it's just like it's gotten too big, or I've gotten too big. I need to focus more on ministry and stuff like that. And so, you know, you have, I think that's the thing. Like you have these rare leaders who are focused on Christ enough, like Francis Chan and other people who, when they get so popular, that they will just be like, okay, this is too much about me now. I kind of need to pull back, get out of the limelight and stuff like that. And just things like that definitely have affected me in the way that I try to carry myself and the way that I try to like relate to the people that I work with and everything. And I said, and I had told him, I said, one of the things that really kept coming to me, because I really felt like we did phenomenal, especially the Lost Book things is one of the things that I'm most proud of, because there's so much, because I kind of got to oversee the production of the whole thing. Like I was writing it, and it was a massive deal. And like at that time, I don't think anybody had gotten like a 4 graphic novel deal, and I got the deal from, and it was Thomas Nelson at the time to do the adaptations, and they were really fighting for me. And they even were like, usually when you deal with those things, they're kind of like trying to get you to come down and make the budget, you know, more friendly or whatever. And they actually gave me a raise on that. And like paid me like an $800 more than what I had made previously with other stuff, in comparison, even though I had only done a couple of things with the other stuff. But I was just like, you know, it was cool because I really felt like it was that I told him, because I just kept having this phrase that was coming to my head whenever I was working on it. It was like kind of like that God was teaching me to write in the name of another, and to not worry so much about like my name and everything that, you know, that you know, God's most important, or, you know,
absolutely,
and to kind of, you know, be willing to be a servant and stuff like that. And so, because especially with the Ted Decker stuff, because he was so big at that time, like his name was all up front, and then your name was like really small in the back with the other credit stuff. And this is, and I bring this up because this is podcast related and other stuff related. But
okay,
my buddy,
because I don't mean to be rude, but I do want you to sort of wrap up here.
Yeah. So anyway, so there's this other really popular podcast called the Sneak Attack podcast. That is a RPG podcast thing, and they also have some other stuff. But anyways, I got mentioned in this one thing because I had sent in this message and said, "Man, I love this," because it's a family friendly, which there are not that many family friendly role playing game or D&D related podcasts out there. And I said I really love it because my son was getting treatments at this like children's hospital thing, and we would be able to listen once a month when we were driving and stuff to do things like that. And I said, and the guy was such a Ted Decker fan that he knew my name.
Oh my gosh!
In the back of the thing, and I'm like,
crazy.
I'm like, that's a pretty big thing. that's like recognizing people from the credits in a movie. You know,
that's like recognizing someone by their laugh in Disneyland. That's crazy.
Right. Exactly.
That's something I have to Paul.
He's gonna hit something.
But thank you for sharing all that, JS. And that's so cool that you're getting to work on all these and you're continuing to work on all these. And thank you so much for gracing us with your thoughts and opinions on Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and taking the time. Really appreciate that. And thank you to my good friend and fellow thief, I guess, Paul.
Prince.
Prince. Prince, the Prince of the Merry Men, Paul J. Powers. Thank you. .com. And thank you all to our rewinders, new or old, for another fun voyage.
You're welcome. And you can find me, pauljpowers.com, at pauljpowers.com.
And you can find me on our Discord for show announcements or just to say hi. Join us there at retrorewindpodcast.com/Discord.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. a curated collection of podcasts, videos, and articles that will provide you a balanced meal of content. You will find culture celebrated for its past and future, satirized for its extremes, explored in study, and created anew in story. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
Thank you, Nathan. And as he just said, we are now part of the Culture Box Media Network. Find all the shows unpacking truth through story, comedy, and geekery at culturebox.media.
Paul, can you retake that with it not under your chin, but more like in front of you? Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. And as Nathan just said, we are now part of the Culture Box Media Network. Find all the shows unpacking truth through story, comedy, and geekery at culturebox.media. With that, Captain, it looks like we need to wait for the next riddle to unlock if this was the correct way to go to begin with.
I know. I sure hope it was, Paul. But thank you, EXO, and thank you all for listening. We pray you are more joyful today than when you first hit play. But like a Pokemon, we got to catch you all for the next episode. Hopefully, if it unlocks, if the riddle is right, we'll find out next time and help us in our ship's logs for the next riddle of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Fourth dimension of D mission complete. Decoding next riddle. View RRP ship's logs for more details.
Now get out of it. We waste good celebration time.
I forgot that was Mike Tragic Maker.
What?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Just him looking at the camera. We waste enough of it. We waste good celebration. Why are you talking at the camera? You're not Ferris Bueller. Okay. Anyway. All right. Awesome. JS, do you still have time for spiritual speculation, or do you need to skedaddle? Because we're at the 2-hour mark here.
Sure.
Yeah. Do we need a break?
Yeah, we could. You could get water, step away, do anything you need to do, and come back if that helps.
I'm okay.
Okay.
Okay. I think. Well, actually, let me check my blood sugar monitor.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I'm fine.
You are okay. Okay.
Yep.
Then. Oh my gosh, Paul. All right, then we'll just get right into spirit. Are you okay, Paul, or do you need to take a break? Yeah. That's great.
No, that's good. Let's push through.
Okay. Welcome, Rewinders, and no, that's not how this starts.
Oh my goodness. Get it together.
Come on, Francisco, get it together.
You got this.
Okay.
Get with it. Yes.
You need a break. Not helpful,
You
Paul.
don't need a break?
Yeah, right. I need some. No, I'm good. I think. Thank you, my love.
You sure?
Yes, I think so.
You sure? You sure?
Well, now that you say that, no, yeah, I'm sure. All right.
Maybe he doesn't know what he has to do. What do I have to do? Sure, can't get you anything.
Sorry, Paul is trolling me right now.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. Yes, I'm sure. Thank you.
Sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Toying with you, He-Man.
Paul. Welcome, Reflex Capacitors, to another spiritual speculation where we take a look at the spiritual themes and questions that the movies and games we cover on the podcast prompt us to think about. This time we're going to be talking about the spiritual themes of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, which if you didn't listen to that review, you can go check it out at retrorewindpodcast.com/272. You don't have to listen to that review, but sometimes the humor of the episode carries over into these spiritual speculations. So if you want to be in on the joke, go listen to that first. But before we get into the spiritual themes of Robin Hood, Prince of POT, let's do a quick icebreaker sharing who we are, what our spiritual walk was growing up, and what we currently believe today. So I'm Francisco. I was raised Presbyterian, which is a Christian denomination, and I'm currently a non-denominational Protestant Christian. Don't give me this whole non-denominational isn't a denomination, whatever. Okay, that's what we're called.
Denominational name.
Paul. JS, how about you?
Yeah, I was actually, I'm JS Earls. I was raised not religious.
Okay.
had some. Although I did have an interesting God encounter when I was young.
Oh, cool.
That kind of planted seeds for later. And man, yeah, more non-denominational. Honestly, one of the things that even when I was getting involved with being a Christian and things like that, I was so involved with so many different churches of different denominations and different kinds, and even just different organizations to like help people. But then I was quickly into doing the band thing, and we would be asked to play everywhere. And so for me, I really got to appreciate a lot of the different sides of a lot of different denominations and Catholics and Protestants and everything. So
very cool. All right, Paul, lay it on me. What is it this time?
When I was young, I was rebellious against my father, so I left the country and joined the Crusades. And there in Jerusalem, I found about Jesus, and now I'm a follower of him.
That's remarkably like this movie, Paul. How do you do it, having parts of your childhood always seem to mirror the movies we covered?
Weird, huh?
All right, guys. Well, just to level set, because I know, Jess, you're new to these. These are essentially the questions we would ask or the themes we would cover. That they are not salvific. We're not gonna be talking about things
like drool, like on the top of Christian
exactly
head while he's being.
Yes, I hate that part so much. Seeing the spit come out.
Yeah.
But no,
that was not planned, by the way.
As in salvation, Paul. Like the things we discuss aren't meant to be like, oh, this is a matter of salvation or not. It's just
if you lost your salvation over this discussion, you are entitled to compensation.
Call the law office of Jesus and Christ. Wow. So this is more like, well, how is God a Trinity, or is there time in heaven? Is there soul sleep? Stuff like that we won't really know until we're in heaven to ask God.
Right.
But Jess, let's start with you. Was there anything from watching Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves that made you think in a spiritual context or a question or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's a few things, but the biggest thing to me was, especially back then when the movie came out, you didn't see too many things with like a Christian and Muslim or whatever, like working together. And that, as I said, with the working with different organizations and stuff too, there's like people and different, especially with some of the differing beliefs with different denominations and everything like that. I see, I would see a lot of kind of like religious prejudice, but then at the same time, like with this, there's a practical side of when you can work with people that you believe very differently. And
absolutely.
Just like with the story of like the Good Samaritan and a lot of other things where this is a very different thing, but the way that God would use prostitutes and use like all these different, very different that we would say, oh, well, that's too unspiritual, or even really secular kings and pharaohs and stuff that God would use and or speak to through dreams or whatever. And that there's still that if we believe that our God is the greatest God. I mean, he's the highest one, and kind of everything else bows down to him. That we can, that there are times when we can, work together, and when we should, especially if it's for practical needs, and it's, if it's things like this, and even things, which is a bad example, if you get into it historically, but like the Holocaust and things like that, like when we should be able to come together with very different beliefs to be able to do stuff, but especially like in this situation where there are so many of the civilians and other people that were being killed and kind of kept down and really oppressed. That those like just the fact of that Akeem and Robin and stuff would work together. You know, that it's there's a time and a place for that, for when we can come together to meet the practical needs of people and try to you know, just love them and be the unconditional love that we're supposed to be. And
absolutely,
you know,
I'm gonna put Paul on the hot seat with this.
Well, I have a question. That goes along with that, but put me in the hot seat if it relates. Go for it.
Okay. Well, no. Do your question first, because it sounds like yours relates.
I know a lot of people. I've heard it. I'm trying not to use the word argue. I've heard it
debated,
or people have said that there is a following that Christians shouldn't work with non-believers, like they should only work with Christians, because I think in Corinthians, Paul talks about, you know, being yoked together, but also like, what do righteous and wickedness have to do have in common, or what fellowship can light have in darkness? I mean, even Deuteronomy, it's referenced, Deuteronomy 22:10, do not plow with an ox and a donkey yoked together. And it's like, it's almost like like we shouldn't be working together. So do you have a retort to that?
I mean, I would have to research that. I mean, one of the things that I find whenever I get into those things, and we tend to use them as like absolutes, is that the context really matters a lot.
Sure.
Of what is being said and I mean, just like when you get into the women shouldn't speak in church. Well, there's reasons why those things happened and why those statements were made. They weren't.
Yeah, was it for like that church specifically? Was it meant to be prescriptive of all churches? Is that sort of what you're speaking to?
Right. And I would just say, that it's always good to I can't even think of what you call it now, but it's always good to judge scripture with other scripture. And you just like I said, I mean, there's just so many places where he had the children of Israel work with non-believers and do different things, and even just like with the just like with the kind of building up the storehouses of Egypt. And doing different things that he had them doing things for the people and for the society, and directing things and you know that like I would just to me it depends on, it really depends on the situation. Like, I don't think, I mean, you look at like the horrible earthquakes and you look at other things, I would disagree that we're not supposed to be working with, you know, whoever. I mean, I would say even, you know, whatever atheists or whatever, when it's more practical needs, when it's more like the flesh. If it's getting into like spiritual teachings and other things, I would say, yeah, you can't really confuse those things. But at the same time too, there's like opportunities and things that happen. Like I had a buddy that is a really awesome Christian. He's a teacher and stuff, and he got offered to go to China for a summer, and was allowed to preach about Christian things in the context of history and public schools over there, and that they actually let him do those things, and he was mostly working with, you know, a lot of atheist teachers and different things over there, but he was able to take that opportunity and do these incredible things. And then I think he even, I don't know exactly where or whatever, but I think there were like some people that had kind of like contacted him about kind of like the underground church and stuff over there, and they were like, wow, this is like, and like they were like saying, like, we have been praying, you know, for stuff like this, that there would be a way, and they you know, they allow, it was like the Chinese government approved for him to come in and teach it and share those things. It's just, it had to be kind of like in a historical context. But I mean, he was even able to share about, like, you know, different miracles and stuff like that, like in the Bible, that are just, you know, that, you know, it's
almost like there's a time and place for everything.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ecclesiastes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was doing while you were talking, GS. I was doing my best. The verse that Paul referenced was 2 Corinthians 6 verse 14. Do not be bound together with unbelievers or unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership have righteousness and lawlessness, or what fellowship has light with darkness, or what harmony has Christ with Belial, or what is a believer in a common with an unbeliever?
Right. A lot of people take that in the context of within marriage.
Marriage.
Some people say,
but
like, even with like
above
business
that, I don't know.
partners and like just any kind, and even to the extent of working, even associating.
Yeah. See, I tend to think that though that conflicts with I think it's Timothy, where Paul also says, "Live peacefully with your neighbors," or maybe I'm misremembering.
Yeah, you're not going to get away from non-believers unless you're
yeah,
like
exactly.
a monk, like disassociating yourself from the world.
Yes, unless if you're gonna be Amish or Mennonite or whatever it is, I feel like if you're at a job with other people, but I can't work with you. I don't think that's quite what's called for. I think maybe marriage, definitely that type of partnership, or maybe if you're gonna go and here's what I'll say about it. I haven't given it tons of thought, but this is sort of if someone was to approach me, these would be the two sort of weights I would weigh in like trying to determine, should I work with you if you're an unbeliever or should I not? Mm-hmm. If it is something that is for the good of other people or that's going to allow people to live, let's say I need to partner. My church is going to partner with a mosque to build a hospital that serves a community. For whatever reason, these two entities want to join forces to build this hospital. I feel like that's fine. If we're going to come together and help you build this mosque next to our church, I think that's like, no, you can do that yourself, because that's essentially that mosque is there to, or that, I don't know, what's another... that synagogue, that other non-Christian place of worship is not necessarily leading people to Christ. So I don't think it makes sense to help them build that. But something that's going to be good for everyone, I think that makes sense to help in that way. I don't know. That's sort of how I weigh it. What do you guys make of that?
Sorry, it sounds like I put you on the hot seat.
Well, that's actually the question I was going to ask you, Paul. So
what? Is it
like how
build a mosque?
Yeah, would it be okay to partner with let's say a Hindu temple to build a school?
It depends, because if that school is there to push the Hindu agenda and be anti.
It's just there to teach the language, the history of that place, and the math.
Yeah, that's not the way this world works.
What?
There's curriculum.
There's not influence.
People, yeah.
Yeah.
I would be very trepidatious before entering.
Okay. A fire department. Volunteer fire department.
That seems fine.
Okay. But why? Why is that fine?
Unless they're like, no, we're only put out the fires that are in trouble by Hindu people. Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
But what about you, JS? Do you fall anywhere on this spectrum?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more, and I say this because especially working with a lot of different kind of creative professionals and publishers and different things, and the biggest thing for me, and that I found, because most of the pretty much all of the non-Christian publishers and different people know where I stand, and that I am a Christian, and that I won't shy away from it.
Yeah.
For me, like, that's kind of where I draw the line. If I'm not free to think and say what I want, and even honestly, which may come out sometime, I actually had a version of kind of like a modern version of Jekyll and Hyde that I had come up with for this one publisher, and he's gay and not really a believer.
The Jekyll and Hyde character or the publisher?
The publisher.
Okay.
Although
I was thinking
although he had told me he's not like anti-Christian like a lot of people are. And anyways, but he had there were some times when he had told me he's like you're one of the only Christians that I feel like I can talk to about God and stuff like that. And he's like, because I know, and it's not because he knows that I'm like firm in my belief, and I'm not going to say, following your fleshly desires and stuff like that is okay. Like, and that's where that's a big thing. And I know this, whatever. But that's one of my problems with people who really push, or try to say that homosexuality is okay with the Bible or different things. Not just that, but I mean, really anything where we're following our flesh it's not spiritual, and we're supposed to be following the Spirit. So it's a contradictory kind of like worldview to sit there and say, well, I can do this, and it's like, no, I mean, most people who are serious Christians, whatever it is, God's always dealing with, our eating habits, our lust, our just all kinds of different things, and it's and we're supposed to be following the Spirit. But at the same time, I will say, like, that just the fact that like God isn't just love; He's agape. He's unconditional love.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, that's the actual word, and so it's very hard. And actually, for me personally, I have had some very bad experiences with where I have had a couple different like guys like try to rape me and stuff.
Oh gosh.
So it's very if I gave into that, it would be very easy for me to not get along with the gay people or things that are around me. But I really, I try to look at them as God does, and just and I mean, we all know our own sins and how we fall short so many times, and we have our own things, and we bend down to our flesh like constantly, and we're so spoiled in America and everything else, but and we just get kind of what we want, and we get to choose what we want to eat and everything, and we're so spoiled in those ways, but just to be able to do that. And I think, like, as long as I'm free to say that Jesus is the only way, and that that there is a God, and if there is a God, and that order doesn't come from chaos, that then there are rules and there are things, and I should be allowed to believe that He did say this is right, this is wrong,
absolutely,
and so and as long as they don't. Religion? Yeah, as long as they don't tell me that I can't do that, because the thing is, and for anybody that really studies Jekyll and Hyde, what you find is it's about sin. So the really interesting thing is for this publisher to come to me and ask me to do this, because they actually had the CW and some other things interested in something like that, and he's like, I really think you would do a good job at this. So I came up with this thing, and I said. And I kind of played with the idea of the sin eater idea. Kind of an older thing, and I kind of did it as like that. I was like, but I'm gonna like deal with all of these different sins, like in the story, these different kinds of sins that are kind of overwhelm people or whatever. And there was going to be kind of like a salvation message and everything in with it. And I was like, is that okay with you?
Yeah.
And I was like. And he was like, yeah. He's like, yeah. He's like, no. He's like, you're right. Like, it does. Like, Jekyll and Hyde. Like, it's very much like it's about sin. So doing this and following that, and it's kind of like, it's kind of edgy in a way, because people don't like to talk about sin in the modern day and age. And just
everything's permissible for me. Wait.
Yeah,
it's true.
I mean, yes, I know, but not everything's beneficial. Yes, I know.
Yes,
but I think. Modern culture doesn't hear that it's not all beneficial. It's all beneficial. No.
Right.
If it feeds my feelings, it's beneficial.
God works everything to my good. It's all beneficial.
who are called according to his purposes, and for those that love him. Everyone wants to forget that
No.
part.
We like the lines we like.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm
yes.
called, I think.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody called me.
No, that's great that you have a publisher that's willing to do that.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it
I mean,
makes-
because a lot of them aren't.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and they
yeah.
can be, whatever.
Well,
a
yeah,
straight
because
white guy or whatever,
money
and
talks.
he's just like, yeah, and they're just like,
Yeah, they don't want to touch those things, and I think there's this element of, I mean, we all at a deeper level, we all know, like you're saying, Jess, we know our sins, we know our sin life, we know how we fall short, and whether we acknowledge it or not, we know we need saving. We're stuck. We can't
not
fix
perfect.
ourselves. Yeah, we're not perfect, and so there is this desire to see what's it called? Not resurrection, but renewal, or not rehabilitation. There's some word that I'm trying to think of. What restoration? Redemption. Thank you, Paul. Yes, redemption and salvation from the muck we're sort of stuck in. So I think that even to non-believers, I think that resonates. That's why so many stories are about someone like usually rescuing someone else, or getting away from or the bad guy being overcome or being thwarted, stuff like that.
Or robbing
awesome.
the rich to feed the poor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Which
Paul.
is really more about anti-corruption rather than
yes,
right.
against
absolutely.
overthrowing the economy.
Yeah, because if he wasn't taking everything from all the people, Robin
Yeah.
Hood wouldn't have the power he did
Right.
to sway the hearts and minds of the populace toward him. So,
Weird, but how people don't reference that, when they just it's rob the rich to feed the poor. It's like,
yeah,
well,
exactly. It should be robbing the corrupt to feed the poor, if anything.
It's about bringing down corruption.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never really thought about that, Paul, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and that's the way that they do a lot of the newer Robin Hoods. They kind of spin it as more
Capitalism bad?
Yes, capitalism bad.
Yeah,
And which is again another. It's like no, in the context of what was originally happening back then.
Yeah. And if it's so bad, why are you making the property and wanting people to pay for it? Huh? Yeah. Okay. I didn't think so. Anyway.
Oh, it's like property, like a house or land, but like a movie or whatever.
Yeah,
to pay
exactly.
for a ticket. Yeah. Oh well, that's Commissioner Gordon. Gotta go.
Yeah, no, that's. I'm trying to mute my.
Okay. Do you need to go, GS? Is that like a signal that you have to go? Okay. Awesome. Well, let's. I think this. Paul, you said you didn't have spiritual speculation this time, right? Or there was a lot.
Oh, I
but-
don't know. You're right.
Okay. Well, I have one, and this is interesting. So this is something that this is during that time where Robin and Maid Marian are sort of talking up in the trees, and he says a quote that his dad says to him. I think that's what he said. Nobility is not a birthright. It's defined by one's actions. So this really...
Yeah, I keep telling myself that, but my trust fund keeps me happy.
No, it really sort of made me. It brought two contradictory thoughts to mind. So one of them is from Psalm 8, and this is the nobility component. I'm reading Psalm 8. This is starting verse 4 and 5. What is man that you are mindful of him? So what is man that God is mindful of him? Or the son of man that you care for him? You made him a little lower than the angels. You crowned him with glory and honor. You made him ruler of the works of your hands. You placed everything under his feet. So there's this aspect where we are inherently noble. We are crowned with glory.
Yeah.
But yet when you go to like James, there's this whole component of faith without works is dead. So there is the glory component that you're made with, but if you don't have actions, maybe that you're like
you buried your talents or something.
Yeah, exactly. You buried your talents. Yes, that's a great way of putting it, Paul. So I just thought that I feel like you can't say it's not right. I think it's not right to say, no one's born with nobility. There's nothing special about you. It's just about how you pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, by the same point, you can't just be born noble and then that's it. You don't have to work for it. So I don't know that those two thoughts sort of clash.
They parallel.
I guess they parallel. they're symbiotic, like Jedi and midichlorian. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know, hearing that, do you think I'm off there at all, guys? With no, we're God made us glorious, and we don't have to work for that. It's just innate to us.
Well, our works are like oily rags. So
Yeah. So then why? Okay, perfect, Paul. Thank you for saying that. So why do we work at all? Why, if it's does God no good? If it's just like oily rags, what's the point?
I would say it's for our good. It's more,
okay.
It's more for, I mean, it's his, and when I mean our good, I mean as being humbling and being serving, and kind
benefit.
of, I don't want to say like no it's more for our benefit, to shape our character and things like that, that but and again, it's kind of like the spirit and flesh thing, where it's like, yeah, we definitely have glory in the spiritual aspect of the God creating and everything, but it's kind of like the works are us like letting that spirit, his spirit come through.
Yeah,
and we're actually putting action to what we have, and really, and that's the thing, like we didn't earn it. It's because we're his children. It's because he grafted us in. So
yeah, I agree with you, JS. I'm gonna say the same thing, only different. I would like to attempt that answer by saying, the reason why it says our works are like rags is, again, for our benefit. It's so that we don't brag and think that, oh, we're good.
Oh yeah.
But the works are important. It's based on the law, I guess, of what God says, of like reaping and sowing. There's a lot of things that are tied to that. So the work is the reaping and the sowing, so that you can sow. There's work to reaping, rather than just doing nothing, which if you do nothing, the Bible warns against, like burying your talents. That's bad. That's a whole nother level of bad, not doing anything, rather than our works being like oily rags.
And speaking to that, Kenneth here in chat said, before creation, God gave Adam work to do. He is there to work the garden. So it's not like working's bad, or that it's almost like God. I sort of think of it this way. God worked to create everything, and then he rested on the seventh day, which doesn't necessarily mean he just like went away or anything, or he slept. He's just like, he's at peace now. Everything's in order. So maybe it's something like that, where that's a way we are imaging God, how we are having his glory in us, is when we do work, because we're being like our Father. Something like that, maybe. And then let's see. Paladin add, works are not for God, but to demonstrate to the works we do are not for God, but to demonstrate to those who don't believe that our faith means something. Yeah, I can see that. Absolutely.
To be a light on the hill.
Yeah. OMG, is that JS Earls? Yes, it is Geek Devotions. Let's see. Kenneth says 15. The Lord God took the man and put him in the garden, and Ian to work it and keep it. Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Work it, Adam.
Oh my gosh.
I will say something, just because this was for me, this was like a profound thing in my in my life, and that really it was when God kind of promoted me to be able to do creative work and stuff for a living from the regular day job I was doing, which I was my day job, which allowed me to do other things at night and on the weekends, was as a X-ray lab tech at an orthodontist office.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I did that for about 20 years. And I did do writing, and I did other things on the side. But it wasn't until I really got the attitude, and really, honestly, it kind of made it not feel like work anymore. Bless you. But was that really taking to heart, like the scripture about, doing everything as unto the Lord.
Yeah.
And really taking a servant's attitude, and just really focus on, okay, everything I'm doing is for the Lord. And it's like, and every person that I'm touching is for the Lord. And And when I started doing that and putting that into practice is like, I mean, it was like months before I was professionally writing, like almost all the time, was that it's like I had to get it and then and do it and to put it into practice. And when I was doing those things, it's like the work was not work anymore.
Yeah.
Because when it's work is when we're thinking about ourselves. And how much I hate this day job, how much I hate, you know, or that, gosh, you know, but when we're not thinking about that, and it's like, you know, it's kind of like the song about turn your eyes upon Jesus, and then everything else kind of like fades away. And it's like, when you do that, and when you're looking at that, and you really are being a servant, and you're putting God and others before yourself, it's like, it just, it's kind of like you line up right, and the Holy Spirit or God just kind of, you know, it's like you're functioning the way you were meant to function.
Yeah, so that's the formula, right? I just have to live the way God made me be, and then I'll be great. Get the work I want. I won't have any hardships ever again, right?
Well,
that's what you're saying.
Well, with your
to work
attitude,
a particular way. It's when we go against those that our life really falls apart.
Here's what I totally buy into everything you're saying, Jess. I'm just going to push back a little
that's fine,
because so many of the prophets, they were right in line with what God said to do, and then he's like, "Yeah, go tie yourself up, cook bread for yourself over dung, and eat that, so that people can see how Israel will be in bondage."
I would say some of that has to do with the role of the prophet, though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
because they were examples.
And
especially in that time, I mean, it's pretty much like they were the only, like, unless I'm getting my scriptures wrong, they were the main ones that like the Holy Spirit and God kind of spoke to.
Right. I think so. Yes.
Before you know, Christ kind of tore the veil and Pentecost and all that stuff. So it's a little bit. I mean, that's a little. It's definitely a little bit different when you do it. But even with them, I mean, oh my gosh, like. You have some of the greatest prophets, and they're immediately focused on themselves right after they do.
That's a good point.
Incredible.
Like Jonah
things.
is like Jonah, no, I'm not going to go to Nineveh. Heck that.
He's whining, and then he's upset when God doesn't destroy them.
Yes, exactly.
And they repent. It's like, that's totally about yourself. And then the same thing with Elijah. I mean, he stands up and all this stuff, and then next thing you know, he's running away from Jezebel because he's afraid. And it's like, you just saw God burn up, you know, all these false, and then that it's just, it doesn't take that much. And that's kind of like what I was saying, is that it was more of, this is a constant mentality and a constant like place to put myself in. Is to learn it and to do it by practice, and that I'm not just then the first time or the first time that there's a major problem, I just start thinking about myself again. It's like
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said mentality and thinking about it, because it is psychological warfare that our enemy attacks us. He knew Elijah and Jonah's like weak spots, where to hit them at what time, and so we just got to remember, you know, to stay soaked in Scripture, and it's hard to do, to keep that motivation going. Honestly,
absolutely. I mean, you just like look at the life of David. He was doing great he had a great run, and then he just like tanks it all with Bathsheba. Exactly, Paul.
But at the same time, and this is one of the things why I do think why God said he was a man after his heart, is that he did not waste a lot of time on repentance. Like when he was convicted, and when he was pointed at, and then he would publicly, you know, proclaim, you know, that he sinned and everything, and kind of be before God and say, and still putting the focus. Okay, you know, it's kind of like the focus was on me. I was wrong. It's God, and then because, and I bring this up because, and I recently had talked to some other people about this, because we tend to, as Christians, think that Jesus dying like wasn't enough. Like we have to punish ourselves too.
Yeah.
And that we have to repent for 7 days or or a month or years. And it's like no, we need to get a handle on that God is the ultimate. And when we like you said, when our mind and our hearts are in the right place and we're submissive and we're genuinely repentant, we don't have to stay there forever because it's not about us. He still needs us to touch the world. He doesn't need us wallowing in our pity and in our that we because then it's like saying that Jesus' sacrifice wasn't enough and that we have to sacrifice too.
And even going back to David, I mean, when the son, I think it was, that Bathsheba had from their first liaison, he was sick and David was fasting and in ash praying to God to save his child, but he died. And then the guards didn't want to come in and tell David that he had died because they were worried what was going to happen. But I think they eventually did. And he's like, all right, well, he got up and just was like carrying on because he said, you know what, God took him and I there's nothing else to mourn because he's already passed. But
move along.
Okay, Star Trooper.
Stormtrooper?
Stormtrooper, that's what it is.
That's
1 second, guys.
But you don't edit these. So we have to fill the time somehow.
Patty cake.
Okay, fine. You don't have to pull my leg. Twist my arm.
Sorry, that was frozen though. Yes, I don't edit these. That's right. Well, for all that you want to know, dinner has to be changed because I didn't thaw the meat. So there. You happy? You happy now, guys? Wow. Just one more thing I wanted to cap on the whole, like you were saying how it is spiritual warfare. It's like a mental game. I forget exactly how you guys put it, but it just made me think of the armor of God from Ephesians and number 17. Verse 17 is, and so he's talking about put all these things on you, and the helmet of salvation is the thing in 17. I'm like, the helmet of salvation, because I would think maybe the helmet of like right thinking or something like that, but maybe the thing you need to have on your head is this idea that your salvation is in Christ. There isn't anything you're doing to earn it. It's something that God's given you, and having that be your mindset, as opposed to, I have to do this battle that I'm gearing up for all by myself. I don't know. Just a possibility.
They will adore it. They think you're a righteous dude.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, and it just goes to other scriptures about like renewing your mind and things like that. And it
absolutely.
Just, and it does. I mean, a lot of it is like too, with the helmet, it's almost like a crown. I mean, it's like his salvation is like, that is what gives us the power and authority and where we really need to, focus.
Absolutely. Wow. Okay. I think we've kept you way longer than we thought we were going to say, JS. So I'm going to go through, just peruse through the chat just to see if there's anything pertinent that I wanted to bring up. D-Tung says, this is good stuff. I need to do some more work on that creative stuff I've been inspired on. Oh yeah, please go for it. Let's see. Paladin said something about, it's funny, today someone compared faith and works to Frodo and Sam. Oh, that's an interesting, from Lord of the Rings. That's an interesting comparison for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Kevin says, I was like Jonah. Go or God will be made or will be mad. I took his walking stick and he walked away from me. I'm not sure I'm following, Ken. And then let's see. The dark helmet. The dark helmet. Oh my gosh. Not the dark helmet. Bible says, Geek Devotion says, Bible does say to take every thought captive, of course. All right. Well, I think any last thoughts or things you guys need to, that your spirit's moving you to get out before we wrap? I'll take that as a no. Oh, were you about to say something, Jazz?
Nope.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you, Reflux Capacitors, for supporting this content. Hopefully it was thought-provoking or at the very least just enjoyable. And thank you, Paul, JS, for your thoughts on the spiritual themes of, I was about to say the never-ending story. No, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I've been reading Never Ending Story. It's on my mind a lot. Anyway, but for Paul, for JS, and for myself, we bid you all shalom.
That means peace.
Meow. All right, guys. Yeah, joke blown. Exactly, Ken. All right, guys. Well, thank you, JS. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm gonna go get dinner here, so Paul, I'm not gonna be able to hang out much with you. But something we like to do.
Right?
What, Paul?
You're going to be streaming in like an hour and 15
Yeah,
minutes?
exactly. So I have to get ready for that. So something we like to do here at the end of the streams, though, JS, is we make a silly face. I call it a stream face. You're welcome to join with that if you're like, no frivolity here. I'm out. That's fine too. But thank you everyone for being here in chat. Kenneth Thinking Devotions, D Tungsten, Ashley, Paladin Pirate, Kennethan, everyone. Yeah, if I'm missing your name, I'm sorry. But until next time, here is your stream face.